Friends, welcome. Welcome to the show, the big show, Virtual Strangers, episode 143. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend, Ruuts. Ruuts, we are locked and loaded yet again for a third week in a row. Jam-packed. I mean, March is the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we said this a couple weeks ago. This was the time the games were going to come out last week and this upcoming week. And it's exactly what happened. It's crazy. And what's also crazy is, for whatever reason, Technoglitch is trying to defend that his mic is always low. And it is. It's always low. Tech, it's always low. Can't help it.
It's not just that it's always low. It's like it's low and across the room from him. Like,
Yeah, it's just crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, man, just another show jam-packed with VR news. If I didn't know better, I would think that maybe we're leading up to some sort of an event or some kind of a trade show or something going on this week. There isn't anything like that going on, is there, Ruuts?
No, nothing crazy like that. As a matter of fact, Mash Daddy Cool may or may not be already there in San Francisco checking out this non-existent trade show, which is crazy because he says that he's going to find a developer to make him a flying mount for Elden Ring. I don't know this is possible, but if you can do it, Mash, get me one too, please. That'd be amazing.
This is your mission if you choose to accept it, and if you don't, then you're dead to me, bro.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. I question your soul.
But yeah, GDC this week, and that certainly showing in the headlines this week, last week, the week before, and I'm sure next week will be more of the same. And our good friend Eric is on the ground in San Francisco, going to be covering that for us, as well as the Q2C community. So big shout out to him, big thank you to him for going out there and doing get the yeoman's work. What kind of VR stuff is going to be on the ground there? We don't know. We know that there typically is news that comes out of this event. But it's kind of, I don't know. It seems kind of quiet this year. It isn't like the last few tech shows have been where everyone's canceling at the last minute. So that's a good thing. Whoever's scheduled to be there is going to be there. And we do know that there's some pretty big name VR studios that are going to be in attendance. So I do expect some kind of some announcements this week. But as for what to expect, I have no idea. Fingers crossed that we learned something new about the PlayStation VR 2, huh?
Yeah, that'd be nice. Some Wolvie would love to know some game announcements, right? He keeps screaming about that. That's the biggest thing. The good news is, I guess, is that this GDC doesn't fall in, like, say, December or something, like right after November elections, and then maybe there'd be cancellations all over the place and people pulling out and some weird stuff. But until then, I think we're safe for these kind of conventions.
'Tis the season. This is like, not only does April begin Q1 of the fiscal year, which is significant, especially during hardware years where, we're expecting, new products to be hitting the assembly line. That's all going to be taking place next month. But March, GDC typically kicks off the gaming year in general, not just for VR, but for the video games industry as a whole. This is kind of the first big one that leads up into the summer of games. And, as busy as March is and has been historically, it typically starts to ramp up here. And then when around late June, early July, that's when it really starts full throttle into the holiday season. If this last few weeks are any kind of indication of what kind of summer and what kind of year we're going to have, I think we're going to have our hands full. And I don't think that it's going to turn out to be all that big of a deal at all, that we're, ultimately going to be waiting 3 more months longer than we expected to get PlayStation VR 2. I think they're going to keep us busy with new game announcements. And I think that Sony are experts at driving up hype. And I think that they're going to make use of this next 9 months or so to do just that.
Yeah, Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a crazy time. So I don't know. I was still distracted on what Sion was saying. He said he's gonna just waiting for Firmament, then he's out of here, bro.
Yeah, well, we are going to talk about Firmament. I don't know that we're going to be able to lend any light to anything that Scion doesn't already know, but Firmament definitely on today's list of headlines, as well as a great number of other things. So I guess we probably shouldn't dilly-dally, and we should kick it off the way that we typically do by saying hello to our friends in chat. Felipe, I stand with D. Laras is here. He said, I'd love to see a Fable style game in VR. I like shooters and all, but they all start to feel kind of like the same thing after a while. Amen to that, brother. I'm all about the single player story driven adventure games, and Fable, a very good representation of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I would say that Alvo's a little bit different than the traditional shooter, at least for me it is. But
it is different. It is its own game, and we did go into that in some pretty good detail this past Wednesday. So if you didn't catch that, be sure to go back and check that out. Our most recent episode of Strangers in the Night, where we talk about Alvo, where we also do a real time review for Outlier, and pretty good episode. Make sure if you haven't checked it out that you go back and give that one a look.
yep.
Chinatown D's in the house. She says, you know who else likes having their hands full?
My mom.
Yeah, she does.
Ray Delator is here. Hello, Ray. Drew's here. What's up, Drew? He says, my phone's about to die, but I left a like. Well, I appreciate that, brother. Thanks for stopping by and saying hello. Daniel Kaz is here. He says we need GTA Online. That's it, man. GTA Online VR, the singularity. That'll be the death knell for traditional gaming. I don't really mean that, of course. Don't get all defensive, flat gamers. I don't mean that your platform's dying. I mean that's really going to be the moment that VR kind of arrives as a mainstream thing. That'll be the ultimate headset seller when people can live inside that GTA world with their friends. It's going to be amazing, and it's 100% going to come, isn't it, Roots?
Yeah, absolutely. We're almost, I mean, we're already there, right? With the Luke Ross mod is so close. All they'd have to do is, put it online and, make it official. So
absolutely. Thomas McNostril is here, as is Wolvraza. Immersed Robot with us again this week. Hello, Gary. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Scion, we already said hello to. We might have something for you a little bit more than Firmament. Maybe hang out for a little bit today, bro.
Yeah. Wolvraza says almost every flat FPS is using the same engine. He wants his shooters to be consistent. But I would say that there's flat games, there's so many FPS. Escape from Tarkov is completely different from Call of Duty, different from Fortnite, different from it's the mechanics, the gameplay, right? The speed, some are slower, some are faster, some are more sims, some are like Escape from Tarkov. You go off a ledge and break your leg, you bleed out. You can do all sorts of crap, right? Where Call of Duty, you get shot in the face and respawn and come right back in. Two different things. Doesn't matter what the engine is.
And as I recall, when we first discovered VR, we were all kind of, cheering the fact that we were kind of breaking free of that whole paradigm that had dominated gaming for the last 10 years. All these, the Call of Duty world, if you will. And I don't really specifically mean Call of Duty, but that kind of whole genre dominated gaming for a long time up until we found VR. And at least I, for one, was happy to have something else. I had checked out from gaming. Like I was just completely bored with it until VR came along. So, yeah, I mean, I too desire to have that, ultimate Call of Duty game in VR, but it isn't because I want to play it. It's because I know that that's going to draw so many more people in. And that's kind of my whole desire to find that Call of Duty VR game, which subsequently, funnily enough, I think that we're eventually going to find Call of Duty VR, and what it's going to be called is Call of Duty VR, right?
Right.
I don't think we're too far from that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adam Doyle's with us. Loves my background. He's been playing some Alex today. Cool. Super cool. Let's see here. Traveling Man is with us. Traveling Man 3775. Hello. Kyle Kitchings is here. He says he's back. That's good. Good to see you, Kyle. Adam Doyle. Techno Glitch. I think we might have already said hello to Techno Glitch. Maybe not. Hello, Techno Glitch.
Space Denizen sliding in.
Hey, what's up, Void Cat? Spry Guy's here, as he is typically on Sunday. Hello, VR Spry Guy. Boognish 66 is in the house. As this Mash Daddy Cool. You know, Masher's on the ground in San Francisco, getting ready to attend GDC this week, as we mentioned before, and I think he legitimately thinks, Roots, that he's better than us.
This man legitimately thinks that he is better than us.
Probably is a little bit, because he's there and we're here.
Yeah, probably. He's probably right, but
how exciting, though, right?
He's not allowed to think it.
Well,
dude, I'm excited for him. I can only imagine how he must feel.
Absolutely. Well, I know he's going to rock it. And what's cool is he's there representing Virtual Strangers as well, right? So we're there as well.
That's right.
In some form.
Our man on the ground.
Yep.
Diane Jackson also joining us. So hello, Diane. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, PD. What's up, PD? PD sliding in here as well. Thanks for staying up, hanging out with us, PD. PD did a... what was it he played today? He played something I was very interested in today, and I've already forgotten what it was. How about me? Give me a second, and I'll tell you what it was. He did a cool video, though. Get his channel up just so I can remember what it was. He's going to totally put it in the chat before I get to his channel. The Tale of Inaugural. Tale of Inaugural. I've been curious how good it is, and he did a 45-minute video on Tale of Inaugural today. So good on you, PD. Thanks for your hard work and awesome content as always.
Gary wants to know, he says, quick question. How interested is everyone in Cambria? It's tough to know what to expect from it yet.
You know, I'm kind of interested in Cambria just by default, right? Like I'm ready for some new hardware. It's been a while, and that's the one that's on the horizon now, right? Like I was kind of meh about it when I thought I was getting my PlayStation VR 2 this year, but now that kind of got pushed back, you know, I'm a lot more eager to hear more about that one. It was a nice box, Roots.
Yeah, that's the thing, is we don't know specifics on it yet, right? I'd like to know some specs. Even with PlayStation 5, before they officially announced it, we knew mostly what it was, right? So we could gauge. But I am interested as well. But I don't know, man. Like I was glad that the PlayStation 5 VR got pushed back, just so I can have a little bit more time to save some money. And then now this is dropping, so now I gotta save some more money. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I for what it's worth, I don't think we'll be seeing Cambria until Connect. I think it'll be around Connect, you know, in October before they drop it. I don't know when they're even going to reveal more about it. You know, typically they have their Facebook thing in April, but last year that kind of got replaced by the gaming showcase. Remember, where they just kind of had this 30 to 45-minute reel that was completely focused on games. And for what it's worth, I hope we get that again this year, because Connect was not the best as far as gaming news is concerned. They kind of pointed to this gaming showcase as being the new source for the gaming news with regards to the Meta platform. So that's not that far off, Roots. That's only about a month away. They haven't announced the specific date of it, but it comes at the end of April. So we're not that far off from learning more about you know, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas VR, These Ubisoft titles, I'm sure they're going to talk a little bit about those. Maybe we'll learn more about these titles that are coming from Vertigo Games. And, they said what, five titles coming from Vertigo. So there's a lot coming from Meta that we already know of, and I'm sure there's just as much, if not more, that we don't even know about yet. And that showcase is only about a month away, so that's something on the horizon, if you will, to be excited about.
I can't wait, man. San Andreas news, and this is funny. A lot of people want the San Andreas news to see what the game's play is going to be like, which I want to as well. But I want to hear the community's hands start ringing. They're like, there's going to be something they see, and they're like, oh my god, I don't think maybe this is wrong, or then they're gonna worry for 4 months on what's going to go on. And it's probably going to be amazing is my hope. But I don't know, I guess we'll see.
We will indeed. Let's see here. What does the chat think about Cambria? PD says, to be fair, I'm more interested in PSVR 2 as it's going to be more for gamers. Cambria is going to be mostly for social VR. Yeah, you know what I like to refer to Cambria as is Quest 3 beta, because that's pretty much what it is. It's the Quest 3 beta. When we get Quest 3, it's going to be Cambria, probably cheaped out a little bit so that it can be more affordable, and then probably with a new processor in it, because if you're going to have a new platform, you need to have a little more power to go with it. But I think Cambria is basically just going to be a beta test, and they've said as much for the next generation of Quest. So I am interested in it on that level. But I agree. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to compare it to PSVR 2, my interest level is almost non-existent. But PSVR 2 is still a year off. So if they can bring me this in 6 months, 8 months, I'll be absolutely all about it when the time comes.
What do you think about $899 for a price? Gary said that was a rumor for the Cambria price. Does that make you?
I've got a hard line on 800, dude. Like if they go 9 with it, they can keep it. Like I've never spent more than like $600 on a headset.
Yeah.
But my line has always been $800, and that's the reason I didn't buy a Vive Pro. And if this comes out at 900, it'll be the reason I don't buy one of these. It's kind of ridiculous. When you start talking about getting around $1,000 for a headset, you're a little bit out of my range, bro. When you can go get great headsets, you can get a Quest for 300. You can catch a G2 for 450 if you're watching. You know what I mean, for sales. And these are new prices, not to mention what you can find on Facebook Marketplace. I don't need face tracking or eye tracking and all of that stuff that badly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially since the community, or a good portion of the people, balk at the PlayStation VR 2 because you have to have the PlayStation 5. So now you're having to invest, like they always say, over $1,000. That's always the thing that they say is the breaking point, right? But now getting a headset alone for $900, $1,000 is okay. Or I'm assuming for some people it'll be okay.
For some people, right.
Yeah.
Greg's VR joining us. What's up, Greg? How's it going, friend? Hussein X here as well. It says we need games plus Spider-Man No Way Home to release in 3D Blu-ray.
Oh yeah,
I agree. I really enjoyed I enjoyed that movie. Ray Del Toro says I'm all in on PSVR 2. This is how you know that PSVR 2 is going to be a big deal. Is when Gary asks everyone about the upcoming Meta headset, everyone's answer is PSVR 2, bro. PSVR 2. That's what I want. PSVR 2. So yeah, I think it's going to be a big deal, and I think that's probably why we're not seeing it until early next year. I think they want another 3 months to
hype,
grow their supply, because I think they want to be ready for the demand. I think that they know what the Quest 2 has done to the marketplace, and I think they want to be ready if demand is higher than expected. And I think that it probably will be.
That might be smart, actually. That's one of the best things with the Quest 2, is that this whole time for the most part, with the exceptions of when they did the recall and little blips here and there. You've been able to walk in and get it anywhere, right? So you can get right in. There's no barrier. In the time where you can't get a hold of anything anymore, you can still get the Quest 2, no problem. And that'd be a good problem for Sony to have as well, right?
Well, as great as the Quest 2 has been, and it has been amazing, the most significant thing that's happened to the VR industry since consumer VR became a thing. But what we need to remember with regards to Quest 2, in this context anyway, is that Quest 2 is a do-over, bro. It's completely a do-over. Quest 1 launched too soon. They weren't able to keep up with demand. They weren't able to mass produce them, enough of them to keep them on store shelves, and they were pretty much sold out for the entire year. And that's why we got Quest 2 after only 1 year, is because they wanted to make something that was more easily mass producible, and they wanted to have enough to meet the demand. Sony doesn't get that opportunity. Sony, as a console-based system, whatever they go with is what they're going to have, at least for 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? So they got to make sure they get it right the first time. They can't be launching PSVR 3 in 2024. Or people are going to lose their shit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. And I was going to ask you this because they're talking about PlayStation 5s. A lot of people saying I need to get one. A lot of people saying I'm glad I got one. And then there's still the people, Wes, that what do you think about the small crowd of people that say, well, I'll just pick up one when the PSVR 2 drops?
Good luck with that, bro. Which I say that kind of tongue in cheek. We don't know. Maybe they'll be on store shelves in a year from now.
Maybe.
But what I could say is that we're firmly in year 2 now, and I've never seen one on store shelves. You can get an Xbox. You can get Xbox all day long.
Oh yeah.
But you're not finding a PS5 on anybody's shelf right now. So yeah, good luck with that. And it's not because they're not producing them either. Like Bradley shared a graph on Twitter a few days ago showing that the sales are still right on par with what PS4 did, despite the fact that they're sold out. It's just a unprecedented demand. Like consumer electronics in the age of I don't want to say the buzzword. You guys know what's been going on the last couple of years. Consumer electronics have been on at a premium, like an all-time high demand for this stuff. So is that going to change over the next year? Maybe, but I wouldn't count on it. If you have an opportunity to get one now, I mean, who wants to swallow all that cost at once anyway? I mean, you're talking about dropping $1,000, $1,200 all at once. Who wants to do that? Go ahead and put your $500 down now, and what you'll get is a year. You're not just getting your console; you're getting a year with the best gaming machine that I've ever owned. I mean,
me too.
I absolutely love my PlayStation 5.
Yeah, it's the best console I've ever had. It's definitely worth it, and I would say get it for sure.
Yeah.
But
and by the way, you can get them. You can get them. All you got to do is join the Virtual Strangers Discord and pay attention. There's an invitation down below for you there. Everyone in our community that's wanted one has gotten one. And if you want one and haven't gotten one, maybe you should join our community.
Not only that, but that I guess link that you put there last week for video cards, Masher was watching it every day, and the day that the 3080s dropped, he picked up a 3080 Ti for like $1,300, and
3080 Ti,
which is phenomenal for right now, which is amazing, right? He's gonna EVGA one.
Nice high-end EVGA 3080 Ti. How about that? That's going to be a real upgrade for him, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the beauty is he's going to sell his Super for like $800, $800 or $900, and so he's going to get his 3080 Ti for $400 or $500. It's kind of a trade up, right? It's definitely worth it, I think.
Absolutely. Like it's nice. Well, it's easy for us to sit here and tell people that it's worth the $1,000+ you have to spend on it. But truth be told, you know, I had to jump through a lot of hoops and sell things to get my 3080. But it's been nice not having to worry about it, right? Like I run a very high resolution headset, and you know, after we got through the initial compatibility issues when it first launched, the last 6 to 9 months, I haven't had to really worry about whether or not I've got enough graphics card to push it. It's just like I can run what I want to play, and I don't even have to think about it.
I'm hearing memories of when I went through from the chat here with when I was going to get a 2080, and people said, no, the 3000 series is right around the corner. Don't pick it up. Don't pick it up.
Oh.
And then we had the shortage, and which we're still going through, regardless of you can still get them, but it's still jumping through hoops. They're not on shelves. You're not getting MSRP. But I see people saying, well, I'm going to wait for the 4000 series. That's the magic series, Wes. That's the series where everything is going to go back to normal. And don't get me wrong, I'm hoping, but I wouldn't count on it. It doesn't seem like the evidence doesn't seem like things are quite yet going to bounce back to where we want them to be. But I mean, obviously, depending on what you have, if you already have like like me, a 2080, you might wait for a 4000 series. Then it would be worth it, right? So,
Well, what incentive does the tech industry have to normalizing the market? This is great for them. Like they're making record profits right now during these so-called shortages. So that I wouldn't expect any kind of return to normalcy, at least until the next console generation starts, because that was the last relief we got, was when PS5 and Xbox X came out. All of a sudden, graphics cards were affordable again for about 3 months, and then it started right back to what it always was. Here's the thing with PC gaming, and if you're going to be a PC gamer, you're going to have to just get used to this, because this is your reality. The next thing is always right around the corner. It's always right around the corner till the you know, the 4000 series comes out, or the, you know, the 16 core CPUs with multi-threading enabled. Like the next thing is always right around the corner. At some point, you just have to say, all right, well, I'm getting in now. And yeah, patience is a virtue, not only in, you know, PC components, but in life in general. So of course, the longer you wait, the better off you're going to be. But at some point, you're going to just have to bite the bullet and accept that whatever it is you buy is going to be outdated in a year, and that's just the truth of it.
yeah, absolutely. Tech says $4,000 for a 3090 Ti. Who's going to buy it? Effing crazy, bro. Ain't no way I'm paying $4,000 for any video card. I thought $1,300 actually, is a lot of money, but for what you're getting, and it's the future proofing, right? Like Wes said, for the next 5 years at minimum, you don't even have to consider worrying about it. And in about 5 years, you'll think, it's still one of the best I could have, and well, not the best, but still playing everything, and then maybe upgrade. But I just think it's good. 3080, 3080 Ti, those are good ones.
Jim Hall says the GPU market is dropping fast over the last few months. This is true, and it's going to continue to do so. Typically, the Australian market is indicator for what's about to happen on our side of the world, and GPU prices have pretty much dropped to pretty much close to what they were when 3000 series launched. So those of you who have been in the market, who've been waiting on a graphics card, now's pretty much the time to get in, because you can get them and they are semi-affordable, but that's not going to last for very long. And I'm sure that by the summertime that they're going to start talking about 4000 series, and we'll be off to the races again.
Yeah, because remember what people said? Oh man, dude, when the 3000 series hits, I'll be able to sell my 2000s, or you know what I mean? I'll get the 3000 series, and I'll be able to get the 2000 series cheaper, and it didn't end up that way. Like Mash is talking about selling his 2080 Super for $900. That's about what he paid for it. You know what I mean? That's crazy, but that's the market. So
I think back to when 3000 series launched, and all those people sold their 2080s up front so that they could have the money to buy the 3000 and then couldn't get one.
yeah, there's a lot of people did that, right?
Yeah, man, it was crazy times.
That is crazy.
Anyway, I could go on talking about this stuff all day, but the fact remains we have a list of about 20 headlines sitting in front of us that we probably need to start working our way through. So why don't we warm up with a little bit of hardware talk, which I guess we already have been going with the hardware talk, but Polyarc talked to Upload VR this week on what Project Cambria's eye and face tracking could bring to Moss. This is an interesting article, Roots, not for the obvious reasons, but it's kind of misleading. First of all, uh, you know, they weren't just talking about Project Cambria. They were talking about eye and face tracking in the context of Cambria and PlayStation VR 2. First of all, second of all, um, if you go on to read through the article, they don't really specifically go into any kind of detail about what this technology is going to mean to Moss. It's all pretty broad generalization, the same kind of conversation that you and I would have about eye and face tracking, what it could mean for gaming. It's all fairly fairly broad what they say about it. But we do have a few good quotes here, and that's the reason why I actually added this to our lineup, because we do have some interesting quotes here about what these type of new technologies are going to mean for VR. And this was Upload VR, Jamie Feltham talking to Joshua Stixma from Polyarc Games. And I'm just going to read the quotes. I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm just going to read the quotes from Mr. Stixma and what he had to say. So he said, quote, "That tech specifically is amazing. I'm really excited to see what everybody's going to do with that kind of technology, but I think you kind of hit on it there with what's exciting for Polyarc. The ability to try to communicate with the character through a language that we can all understand. Smiling is a great example. That's powerful. And as developers, that's something that's really exciting. And then the eye tracking, obviously, being able to know where you're looking, and she can understand hypothetically, she understands where you're looking at and can react in some way. If you're having a conversation with anybody at all, those are the key things that make the conversation real. And with us being able to connect in that way, it's only going to mean that we're able to have our experiences feel more real. And I don't want to downplay how tough that probably will be for us to implement and pull off, because there's going to be a fine line between, oh, this is just a quick reaction, and then skirting over it too. Like, wow, this is a real person or a real character that I feel is real. So basically, what he's saying here is, to a game like Moss, this eye tracking and face tracking technology is important because it allows for nonverbal communication between you and the character. And a game like Moss is built all around your relationship, your very direct relationship with Quill. Typically, when you play a third person game like this, you're that third person character. But Moss is unique because you're not. You're the reader. Quill is your friend.
Oh.
And these types of new technologies that enable the game to read emotion from your face or communicate with your eyes, it's going to be a pretty big deal for these types of games and for VR gaming in general.
Yeah, imagine like you're playing a game like one of those. What was that one game that was always yelling at you from that?
Z-Race. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it was the puzzle game. Was by the makers of Rick and Morty, I think it was, right?
Oh, Accounting Plus.
Yeah, Accounting Plus. So imagine you just start looking away, and somebody's gonna start talking shit. Look at me. What are you looking over there for? They could really do a lot with this. So it's actually pretty cool, I think. And Wolf Raza says, bah humbug. I guess he's not into. I was thinking of Wolves in the Wall, right? The way that was already done made you feel really like you connected with the character, and then you add this eye tracking or smiling. Like if I smile, you know, that's one of the reasons why, and this is why I love being able to see people's faces again, because smiling is a big part. Seeing people smile is a big part of life, right? Like you can gauge a lot from what people, even if they say something, just by watching their face. If they smile, it diffuses everything. So I want that in my games. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Daniel Kaz has a good point. He says face and eye tracking will be big for VR poker.
That is gonna be big.
Absolutely, it will be.
Yeah.
And think about these dating apps that or these dating games, dating simulation games that we've laughed at for 5 years now, that you see all over Steam. We're going to reach a point where people are actually going to be able to get valuable experience. Maybe you're not the best at talking to women or whatever, or learning things, important things like maintaining eye contact and reading
speech,
facial cues.
Giving a
Yeah,
speech, right?
talking.
Getting over public speaking, right?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of great practical applications for this this technology when it comes to connecting emotionally in a digital space. And that's why this is happening. Let's not forget that Meta, first and foremost, is a social VR platform, but they know that people aren't really going to buy into it fully until you can really connect on a personal level with someone over the digital space. And eye tracking, face tracking, even body tracking to some extent is crucial for the future of these types of applications.
How are you gonna fall in love with your virtual lover if you can't really look them eye to eye, right? That's what people are gonna fall in love with, this virtual stuff. I guarantee it, man. It's not real, bro. Don't do it.
Unless you're like me and you just have a thing for dead eyes. I love when my significant other has dead eyes, like they're staring at the 1,000-yard stare.
Like, I'm not even gonna go there.
I know where you're going with it, and you probably should. Anyway, let's move along before this thing goes completely off the rails, and let's talk about Holoride some more, man. Holoride in-car VR entertainment heading to Audi vehicles. So we've reported on this Holoride platform a couple of times already. This is a VR platform that is completely self-contained, hypothetically, in the backseat of a car, which uses real-time data from GPS systems and navigation and just basic, speed and velocity data from the car itself to kind of tailor a virtual experience around these real world forces that you feel when you're on a car ride. I always kind of looked at this as kind of this hypothetical thing that we're going to see a few years from now, but that not the case at all, as Audi is implementing this platform now into their vehicles, and these vehicles are going to be hitting lots later this year. So if you have a Vive Flow and you want to experience the first generation of mobile VR, all you got to do is get yourself an Audi, bro. And this is absolutely going to be an option by the end of the year.
Well, there you go, Mash. There's your next thing to convince your wife to let you buy. Say, honey, I need the Audi. I got the Flow. And then, you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. I need to just check it out. Just check out the Audi real quick.
All jokes aside, I would be interested in demoing something like this.
I think it'd be cool.
Imagine how what a big boom this is going to be for car salesmen. I mean, you're going to talk about blowing somebody's mind on a test drive, man. Like, I'll drive. You sit in the back seat. Let me show you what this thing can do. You want to go to the Mars? We can go to Mars, bro, and you'll feel like you're flying. I could only imagine that this is going to be something cool, a cool gadget.
It's going to change,
to say the least.
Change the ride to the store for sure, right? Or wherever, because I don't know if it's like you with your family, you're going to run to the store with a couple of your kids. Everybody wants to be in the front seat, and there's bickering ensues, right? but now they're going to be arguing to who gets to ride in the back. So you need to get yourself an Audi. You got a big family. You could do some stuff back there.
I like the way you're thinking. Imagine playing a game like Coaster Combat or Until Dawn. That's the track's kind of tailored to your route, and you feel, it'd be almost like having the perfect y'all VR, right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome, right? Traveling Man says the beard is the new setting for Moss Book 3. He hears. I hear that as well. And Paradise Decay says, you know who else likes her mind blown?
My mom!
Yeah, she does.
Oh, yeah, she does.
This
Absolutely.
This looks cool. So I guess the implications, I mean, even just even seeing a different universe skin over it, right? Or maybe a Pokemon game, right? You could play like see things that it looks like it's kind of an AR skin over, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I don't hold me to this, but I think didn't we say that Shell Games was working on
I thought
some software for this? I believe they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Traveling Man says I'll play Cash Cab for sure. That'd be pretty cool too. Cash Cab in there.
Absolutely, absolutely. The way they kind of always describe it is they typically describe the ideal game for this being something like a roller coaster, like a spaceship, especially. Like imagine having like a Star Wars themed aerial ride, or maybe like you're on the speeder bike going through the forest of Endor or something like that. And it knows when you're going to be turned. It knows when your trip's going to end, so it can tailor the entire ride for you. I mean, this is going to make long road trips just amazing. I guess for the one person who gets to experience it, everyone else is going to be pissed off. Like, give it to me. Let me have a turn.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just cool. It's cool that it's there, and it'd be cool to have with your flow, like just in general, like if MASH went on an airplane on a trip, to be able to use this technology. And I'm assuming at some point that's going to happen. I don't know. Obviously, needs to be able to probably connect to very high speed internet, right? Which your Audi will provide. So.
Yeah. So this article is from Kyle Melnick at VR Scout. It says during South by Southwest this week, it was announced that Holoride technology will be launching on select Audi sedans and SUVs with the new MIB3 technology this summer, offering consumers their first taste of backseat VR entertainment. Powered by a blockchain ecosystem, the platform features one-of-a-kind elastic content that takes into account everything from the speed and movement of the vehicle to the length of the trip itself. This means that no two in-car VR experiences will ever be exactly the same. So how does it work? Holoride partnered with a company called TerraNet to utilize voxel flow, a system of sensors that captures movement data and translate it into gameplay in real time. As previously mentioned, the open source system is centered around blockchain metaverse. So maybe we should have actually put this story in the metaverse category. But you guys get the picture. This is future stuff. This is futuristic stuff here, man, and proof positive that the future is here and the future is now.
Yeah, it's kind of both. It falls into both categories, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and that's why it's such a good transition piece over to our chock full metaverse section this week, and we're going to kick off the metaverse headlines the way we always do with our weekly big number. And this week, the big number comes from Omdia Analysis, who has stated that VR content market is on track to generate $3.1 billion in 2022. And this is VR content. This is not hardware. This is metaverse. This is social. This is gaming. $3 billion this year, Ruuts. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. That's a lot of pie for people to get a piece of, right? And that's what we want.
Absolutely.
We want those numbers out there. So the people that make the decisions, we know the people that make the games want to make the games. They just need to have the budget to make the games and the green light, right? At least from the big AAA companies. And this is where we're headed. Every time we see a story like this, it's good for all of us, right?
Yeah. Anyone who's doubting whether or not we'll ever see GTA Online VR or Call of Duty VR, all I have to say to you is $3.1 billion in revenue this year. Come on, bro. It's happening. The days of there's no money in VR are long behind us at this point. This is the hottest thing in tech right now. And imagine what's going to happen, Roots, after Apple makes VR the coolest thing. For the larger tech consumer bubble.
And Nintendo. I know there's some people that doubt Nintendo ever coming into the fold. As somebody was saying recently that they thought they would never come just because of the warning would never go away for the kids, right? Even though I think varifocal lenses will solve that problem. But, we've already got VR Nintendo with the arcade games, right? Mario exists, and it's one of the best arcade games you can play, or you could be a Mario Kart rather. And so I think when Apple hits, when Nintendo hits, those will be the two big ones that we're waiting for, right? And then of course Sony, I believe, is going to pave the way for at least Nintendo, because Sony's all about the games, and so is Nintendo. So
I think Nintendo is going to be a pretty big player in like AR gaming. I think that they have a solid foundation that goes back a decade in AR gaming, and I think that they're going to be very interested in that when the tech matures, and it's not going to be very long.
Yeah, that's very true.
Jim Hall says Fortnite makes more than that all by itself. Well, I mean, Fortnite is Fortnite, bro. And I firmly believe, Roots, and we don't talk about this very much. I think that that we're going to see Fortnite in VR. I think that that's being worked on right now, because I know that Epic's all about they're all in on the Metaverse concept, and they kind of already have been working on it, and it's called Fortnite,
Yeah, absolutely. Traveling Man says train keeps on rolling, throwing 5 spot at the virtual strangers. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Traveling Man. Very much appreciate the support there. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for the donation. GT slipping in here too, by the way. Hello, GT. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
You know who likes it when it slips in there?
My mom!
Rich Hellstrip says, whoa, I listen to the show every week at work, and now I've just been auto-played onto it. Bonus. Yeah, you're here,
Nice.
Rich. Yeah, we appreciate you being here. We're going to shout you out in real time. Thank you.
Jonathan Taylor says Nintendo has such low-powered hardware, though. Yes, and that will continue to be the case. Whenever we go on to like whatever the next thing is for VR, and we have these super ultra highly realistic games in VR, that's when Nintendo's going to get into the market, and their first headset is probably going to be a lot like what Quest 2 is right now, and it'll be outdated at that point from the PC guy perspective. But we have to remember that Nintendo has a very different consumer base, and they don't need to have ultra high realistic games. Their games are cartooning. The big ones are anyway. So nobody's going to care that the headset isn't capable of keeping up with Oculus Quest 4 or whatever. All people are going to care about is that they get be inside the Mushroom Kingdom. They get to be Link in Hyrule. That's all people are going to care about. It's not going to matter if it's running a Snapdragon chip, 5 years from now. Nobody's going to care.
Well, and that's the thing. When they come in, they'll be able to do what we do, what VR does now on the lesser chips. They'll just like Sony. They're really good at optimization, right? And making it their games look phenomenal, even though it's 720 and it looks like it's 2000 or 2K, right? Almost, but like Mario, that type of stuff. I think it's gonna be amazing.
Let me tell you, the engineers at Nintendo are geniuses. I mean, they are legitimately geniuses. When you think back a decade ago to what they were doing with the 3DS, they had glasses free 3D on a handheld system a decade or more ago. That same handheld system had very good working AR applications on it, and my children still play them. I mean, it's by far my favorite handheld. But beyond that, we forget that Nintendo were the first to do motion controls with the Wii, right? That they were making pseudo VR games before VR was a thing with the Nintendo Wii.
Wii Fit was cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love a lot of those old Wii games, and I mean we've got all those consoles, dude. We've got a Wii, we've got a Wii U, we've got the whole deal. Legitimately, it's funny because their hardware, from a technical perspective, as far as like sheer horsepower, is always behind the curve with when compared to the other consoles, but the application of the tech is always light years ahead of everyone else. Even with Switch, while on the surface it may seem like a fairly straightforward handheld device, the Joy-Cons are amazing controllers. The Joy-Cons have the same HD haptic system in them that the DualSense has in it for the PlayStation 5. And let's not forget that, how long has Switch been out now? 5 years, 6 years? It's been out a while. They were the first with that kind of haptic technology. And whatever they decide to do next, I'm sure there's going to be small innovations like that we'll see everyone else catch up to a decade later, even while at the same time being underpowered from a GPU CPU perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I love Nintendo. They the hardware doesn't make sense on paper, but it just screams and produces good games, or I guess plays good games. So
yeah, and unlike Meta, unlike Sony, Nintendo's never willing to break even or take a loss on their hardware. They make profit from what they sell. You know what I mean? That and that probably has a little something to do with that with the GPU CPU specs as well.
yeah, absolutely.
Gamertag says 3DS AR was brilliant. It really was, man. There were so many amazing technologies that are still amazing today on that. I can't believe that platform doesn't get more love than it does.
Yeah.
Anyway, 3.1 billion, not the only big number we've got to talk about this week, as the Zenith developers, Ramen VR, have now raised $35 million in Series B funding. They're going to double the size of their studio, Roots. So if anyone was doubting whether or not these guys were going to be able to achieve their vision with Zenith, don't doubt it, friends. They've got all the resources in the world behind them now. And I'm very interested to see what happens to this game over the next 1 to 2 years, and how it actually ends up turning out.
That's kind of how I feel. Except for I'll go. I mean, I guess you didn't say this specifically, but I'll go further as far as how I feel. I'm not interested in it right now at all, just because it's not where it's at. But I know that they're gonna get where they need to get in the future, and so I know I have something to go back to when they get the end game that I'm looking for. I mean, I can even get to 40, like Alex and Skiva were saying they got to 40 and they kind of stopped playing. But now we know that end game content is coming, because before this article I was a little worried just recently that man, it just seems like the buzz isn't there, and that's just because I'm not in there. I'm sure the buzz is still there, but it seems to be falling off a little bit. But this is good news for sure.
Tiffany joining us in chat. What's up, Tiffany? She says, I need another trip in Zenith. Well, friend, you've come to the right place. We may even be able to facilitate that for you. I was in Zenith just this last week, Roots, and more of the same. They've got a lot going for them. They have an amazing map, an amazing world to explore, and a good foundation to build on, a very detailed game from a lot of different angles. Basically, it's the content that's lacking, in my opinion. Like the the quests are all repetitive, and there's not. I mean, the combat's not the most satisfying thing in the world. It's kind of a button mash fest. Um, but they have a great foundation to build on, and this is still only the very early days of this game. I am confident that it is going to continue to improve.
Yeah, especially when they got all this money pouring into it. The studio's doubling. They were already kicking ass before, right? So now they got twice as much work going at it. And, it's still about the people, right? I'd probably go into it and hang out with GC. I haven't seen her for a long time. That'd be cool, right?
Yeah. I've actually been, we've been chatting a little bit off air. So I think that it's very likely that we're going to be hanging out with her a little bit more in the very near future.
Awesome.
I'll say that. Oh, wow. Thank you, Tiffany. She's a $25 donation. She says, who else says they're not interested in it right now?
My mom.
Oh man, that's a blow right there. You know who else likes a blow?
My mom.
Oh, go ahead.
She sends hugs our way. She says we're the best strangers. Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, Tiffany. Likewise. The feeling's
Absolutely.
mutual.
Yeah, for sure.
GT is curious if we've gotten to Moss yet. We have not, sir. We're still in our Metaverse headlines, but that's going to lead off our gaming segment. So hang in there just a minute. We are going to get to that. Right now, I want to talk about Zombieland Headshot Fever Studio, XR Games, as they have officially leveled up Roots, as they have acquired fellow British team Fierce Kaiju. So, we've had this conversation a few times over the previous few months about how we're starting to see some stratification with regards to the pool of developers in VR. Where in Gen 1, everyone, all the small to mid-level studios, we're all kind of viewed in the same pool. We're starting to see a few studios pull ahead and put themselves on a new tier. Studios like In Dream, studios like Fast Travel Games and Vertigo Games and Servios. We're seeing these studios branch out, open up new studios, branch out into AR and other areas of XR development. XR Games taking a different approach. They're doing what the big boys do and acquiring the smaller studios, which is very interesting. We don't see a lot of headlines quite like this, especially from a studio like this. So I think it's an exciting time for them, and I want to congratulate them on their expansion.
Absolutely. And we're seeing this, like you said, a lot of different companies are developing studios, picking up other studios. This is what Wolf Raza wanted, right? He's been saying we need more veterans kind of directing VR, and that's kind of what's happening. They're buying up these other studios and then kind of shaping the VR landscape, right? Which is kind of cool. And Wolf Raza says, low this month, but got to join in. Rocking good show, Wolf Raza. Thanks for the $2. It doesn't matter. It could be 50 cents, bro. And you just being here, you rock. And, I wanted
Absolutely.
to say, as far as Alvo goes, just one little thing. I saw Wolf Raza in there the other day. Not really, but I this is what I see for your future, Wolf Raza, and this is why I keep wanting you to go in there. This dude was a god in there. He was running around, jumping, sliding. I mean, he was killing people. I couldn't believe how good this was. And I see you doing that, man. Like I see you loving it if you give it a shot. So
yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Alvo later in the show, and we'll try to address some of Wolf Raza's thoughts on it when we get to it. But yeah, absolutely. I think you're going to like it, Wolfie. I mean, obviously, just like everything else, it's not perfect, but I think that the high points are going to appeal to you.
Yeah.
So I look forward to hearing what you think about it after you have played it. Anyway, XR Games leveling up, kind of a surprise, isn't it, Roots? It's with these other studios, with your Sky Dances, your Fast Travel Games, these guys have all kind of had multiple big name titles through the first generation of VR. And while XR Games does have a couple of titles under their belt, the Angry Birds Under Pressure game didn't. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it really performed all that well. And Zombieland has gone on to be, perform decently just based on how good it is. But if you would have had me list 10 studios that I think would be making that next step into the next echelon of VR gaming, I don't think XR Games would have been one of them. So certainly surprising. It isn't because they're not talented. They very clearly made a great game with the Zombieland Headshot Fever. But yeah, it shows. It just goes to show that they didn't blow all that Sony money, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Put it to good use, right? So that's kind of what you want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, congratulations to them, and I look forward to seeing what their next project is going to be.
Yeah, me too.
Quest parental controls are on the way, Roots. They're going to include locks on applications, PCVR linking, and more. This is a big one for me, Roots. Like, as you know, we're a VR family here, and especially now that my kids are getting older, they're playing more and more VR. More than me, even. Like my older children and wife, they're in the headset just as much, if not more so, than I am these days. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed with good children. I trust them. They know what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do, and they know what the consequences will be if they ever violate my trust. So I've got good kids, but not everyone, homeschooled their kids and have this trusting relationship like I have with mine. And I often see these people on the Q2C group, for example, and you can just tell that these people are just handing this headset to their kids and just backing up and walking away. And we know what the kids can access in that. And it always, I always shudder to think, what if these kids go into VR chat? You know what I mean? Or any number of other applications that could completely, end their childhood in about 5 minutes. I'm glad to see that this fact is not lost upon the engineers at Meta. And in my opinion, this is a long overdue update, which is going to allow parents total control over what their children are looking at, participating in, and experiencing in VR. And the cool thing about it is you're going to be able to link it to your phone, to your computer. Whenever your kid tries to do something and needs permission, you're going to be able to just tap, 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 and either deny it or approve it. It's not like you're going to have to run and grab the headset every time they want to do something.
I can feel the eye rolls out there already, but these are the same people that give their kid their phone and they disappear in the bathroom for 2.5 hours. They're 9 years old or something, and they're scarred for life.
Right.
It's something they found online. It is a reality that that's not even the worst of it. Like you said, VR chat, I cringe at what they'd hear, what would go on, but we live in a world where there's people that literally will try to find out addresses, talk to these people. Maybe your kid disappears. I mean, there's horrible stories. We don't know how they all got to where they're at. We've heard them all over the news, right? Throughout many decades. This is one of them, right? There's reasons why you should monitor what your kids are doing online. And I think it's a very, very good idea. And stop rolling your eyes. It's actually a good idea. So.
Yeah, we actually did, I don't know, it was a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago, we did an episode on kind of the old fears about video games from 2 or 3 decades ago, and the things that the naysayers said would happen to children if they play a lot of video games. Exposure to violence, sex, drugs, rock and roll, that whole deal, and how how kind of overly cautious it was back then, and whether or not VR actually makes a difference in that now. Because it isn't just pictures on a screen anymore. You have the gun in your hands. You know what I mean? It's a different conversation now, And again, I'm glad to see that parents who care to have. It was kind of a catch-22, though, isn't it, Roots? I mean, parents who care enough to use these type of features probably already are involved enough to kind of monitor what their children are doing. I guess this is just going to kind of make it easier for us, right?
Yeah, it makes it easier and gives you a lot more options to set the parameters. And like you said, it comes right to your phone. You can, say yes or no. And that's a discussion that, we probably will be discussing in 10 years from now. Like, because we always talk about the immersion level, right? And we get to that level where things feel so real. And so it almost is like and we've even said this before, you're creating an actual memory, right? So what could the ramifications of running around shooting people in the face in GTA 5 do? I still think that morals are morals, but I think it's a definitely an interesting discussion, and we could probably even revisit that discussion from that standpoint somewhere in the near future,
Yeah, we even have another parent on our team these days that can lend some insight to it. So yeah, I think that's a very worthwhile conversation. And I'm sure that we will revisit it sometime relatively soon. Well, Rosa says, yeah, Tipper Gore has been resurrected and she's coming for your children's souls. No, bro, not that. That's the last thing we need. These baby rapers to get a hold of our kids.
Yes.
Let's see. Tiffany says, what does a person have to do to get Scion Rant? Well, Tiffany, just start talking about how PCVR doesn't have a role in the next generation of VR and how it's a dying platform. And I'm sure we can get his ire up a little bit.
Yeah. Or how he got betrayed by, he kind of feels like in the same reason you felt like against HTC for overpricing it out of your price range. You kind of had a little grudge, right? And he feels the same way, that Facebook kind of screwed him from using it because of the sliders and because of the contractual things. It's kind of like they screwed him out of getting a really good headset. And I don't think it was personal. I'm 99.9% sure it wasn't personal. I can't say for sure though.
No, none of that stuff was. But the move to inside out tracking, totally personal.
Totally.
I've seen insider documents that state specifically, let's just fuck Scion's ability to play Echo VR.
He's so good. He's too good. How can we screw this guy out of playing this esport?
But by the way, Scion, you say that you showed up for the Firmament talk. Well, good on you, bro, because what we're about to talk about right now is Virtex. First immersive esports stadium is going to be specifically built for Echo VR. So we talked about this. It's been a while back now, maybe 6 months. How this company Virtex wants to build a virtual arena for people to be spectators for virtual esports. We've kind of already seen the birth of VR esports over the last few years, especially in the Oculus Quest era, as some of these competitive tournaments have picked up. Some of the more popular multiplayer titles in VR. But what really hasn't been there is the same kind of enthusiasm from the viewer that we've seen with traditional esports. And Virtex is betting on, I think rightly so, that people are going to be much more interested. VR people like you and I, are going to be much more interested in being spectators when we can actually go and be present in the space. And this article is, I think this was another one from, no, this is Good Morning Web 3, GMW3. It says, I wanted to highlight a couple of the highlights of this stadium that they're building. It says, with Virtex Stadium, we recreate that feeling of going to a real event. Esports communities can come together for their favorite events whenever they're in the world. Even better, they can experience their favorite games in 3D, even as a spectator, for a completely new viewing experience. So this is kind of what's the game changer now, Roots. Is it's not like watching a stream on Twitch or on YouTube. We're going to be able to go into our headsets and watch the game in full 3D. And that's kind of a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the future of VR streaming, right? If they can do it, because Traveling Man says they need this for every game and experience, and I agree. You were talking about this for Demio, right? And I just think it would be super cool where if you could go in and watch somebody else's game. I'm not that big or very interested in Echo VR, but I'd love to watch it. Watch Scion play, kick some ass. I hear he puts kids in their place. That's always good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how this thing's going to work. So basically, the way they're structuring this is there's an arena where people can go and sit and kind of be in the game with the players and spectate it that way, or there's like a lobby area that has this cool like 3D hologram that people can kind of stand around and watch it. I think that's at least in theory could be very fun. I mean, date night Roots. I mean, we're always looking for things to go hang out with people and do in VR. This is something totally new.
Yeah, it's just super cool. I think something you can hang out with your friends, or like I said, somebody that wants to just hang out with your wife or whoever. It'd be super cool. Nice.
Yeah, they are running a closed beta right now, and you can apply for that through their Discord server. Again, that'll be linked in this story on GMW3, which is linked down below, or you can just hit me up on Discord, and I'll throw you the link if this is something that you're interested in participating in. But who doesn't want to go and watch some Echo VR? I'll watch it especially if our friend Sion's going to become a professional athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. And how good is this for devs too, right? I mean, like if Traveling Man, say what Traveling Man says happens every game they have or experience you got or something where you can go watch people play, then that's a good way to check the game out, see if you like it. You know, a lot of these games don't translate well on a video, but if you're in there looking at it, even if we could watch the trailer from in VR, that's really what we need, right? So we can see what the game looks like, see the gameplay from the perspective of somebody playing it instead of watching it through the TV. I don't know why that's not a thing yet.
I think that's going to kind of be the next level for people like us, the streamers, when we're able to capture our gameplay and our in-game experiences in full 3D 360. I think that's going to be kind of a game changer for content creators. And obviously that's going to take a lot of system resources, and we're quite a few years away from that, but I do think we're going to get there.
Yeah, there was some program that let you do that a while back, a couple years back actually, and it was cool because you had an avatar of, I don't know, a teddy bear guy or whatever it was, but it was you, and it was in the game, and if you went in there, it was like you were able to watch it from inside the game. But it was only certain games. They did it like a handful of them, and I don't know what happened with that experience or whatever it was. It was super cool.
Sion says sometimes kids put me to shame too. Yeah, believe me, I completely understand. Sion, they are 100% better than us. Like there's no question that the next generation it would eat our lunch in any kind of competitive scenario. Like whenever we go into After the Fall with my daughter, like it doesn't matter how hard I try to. Her stat line's going to beat mine and everyone else's too. And I ask her how she does it. She's like, I just shoot him in the head. Okay, it's that easy. Why didn't I think of that?
Easy. Well, it's kind of like shooting a tutorial guy in the head. I never would have thought that either, but I see where your daughter got it from. You're thinking outside the box. I literally, it shocked me. I was like, oh my God, you could shoot that guy? Like, it just never dawned on me. Crazy.
Yeah, everyone thinks that I'm the smart guy for thinking of that, but I'll just point out that Chapter 2 is called Retribution.
Oh,
So who do you think they're going to be getting Retribution for?
he's coming after
Probably
you.
tutorial guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's pissed.
Mash Daddy says, great. Virtual long lines for the bathroom. Right, bro. You know, everything else is going to be in there, so I wouldn't doubt it. Probably some long bathroom lines. There's certainly going to be some McDonald's at the concession stand, right?
How crazy would it be if you were standing there and you were in that long line for the virtual bathroom and some Karen was there like telling you 6 feet. We need a 6 feet space. And you're like, you know what? I'm in the no, not doing it.
And imagine how immersive it's going to be, Roots, when they finally have that smell attachment that you can put on the headsets, and you can get that nice virtual urine scent as you walk into the virtual bathroom.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. This is my dream. Google Maps, you know, going into Google World or whatever in VR and walking the streets of San Francisco. You got that urine and feces smell coming out. You really feel like you're there. Nothing says San Francisco.
We were just talking about the next level for VR dating. Imagine that, man. When you finally,
God.
never mind, never mind. We're going off the rails here. One more Metaverse headline before we move on, and it is of the esports variety as well. Roots, this is a follow up on a story we covered a while back, and we kind of chuckled at it a little bit, but. Surprised to announce that VR game Racket NX is now an officially sanctioned sport. This story coming to us again from GMW3. Actually, hold on a second. I clicked the wrong thing. Maybe it's not coming from GMW3.
VR Scout.
VR Scout. Okay. Yeah, everyone's favorite VR racquetball game is one step closer to becoming an Olympic sport. Earlier this week, VR developer One Hamza announced that the International Racquetball Federation has voted to officially recognize Racket NX as a fully sanctioned sports discipline. According to the company, this marks the first electronic game of any sort to be recognized as a global sport in the eyes of the International Olympic Committee. Last year, One Hamza expressed interest in slowly transforming Racket NX to an Olympic level sport. Again, we laughed when they said that. But since then, the company has worked alongside organizations such as the IRF and Metaverse Sports Association to establish the game as a legitimate sport. In 2021, the group signed a memorandum of understanding and have since continued to expand upon the partnership. So here we are, Roots. Like, when we originally laughed at this notion, it wasn't that we thought that this could never happen. But, dude, I thought we were a decade or more away before anyone would even consider video gaming, even, you know, as physical as VR gaming can be, as an Olympic level sport. But here we have Racket NX, absolutely 100% being recognized by the International Olympic Committee. How long, Roots, before we're tuning in to NBC to watch the Chinese? Never mind. I was going to make a bad joke. To watch people play Racket NX to try to represent their country. This is nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's cool. There's a lot of games out there. Racket NX, Echo VR, games that really could be, or I guess a lot of people even thought, what was that one that the content creators did the competition with that Skiva did? Can't remember what the name of it is off the top of my head. But anyway, there's a lot of games out there that could do it. And we balk about it. We laugh at it. But if you look at Olympics now or any esports, there's so many things that make it there that we wouldn't consider any type of sport, right? Like there's just no activity in it, but there's skill to it. So this is going to fall into that line, but there actually is both. It's kind of a weird place. I mean, it's definitely something that people that are amazing at games like this, like Knock, I could totally see Knock being another game where there's competitions based on it. And we see it with all these other games, League of Legends and all these other games that are flat that have competitions. Why not in VR and why not in esport? I think it's cool.
It's amazing, and no one. Here's the weird thing about it is like, obviously, we all know that some of these applications are legitimate sports, even like Spark. I mean, there's a lot of uh, there's a lot of games that absolutely will wear you out physically, and it takes uh, some uh, some amount of physical prowess to become great at them. But how could you have any kind of? Well, I mean, I was going to say, how could you have any kind of competition like this with something that has code that can easily be manipulated and hacked? And but when you think about it, I mean, people who uh, people who participate in traditional Olympic sports, they hack their games as well when they take steroids and or human growth hormone or any of these designer drugs. So I guess it's really no different if you look at it in that light.
Yeah. Plus, there's a lot of game cheats and type of stuff. Like I said, again, like Counter Strike or any of these big games that have done competitions. There's a lot of cheaters out there, and so they try to minimize. Same thing that got Scion banned from Sea of Thieves. You know, cheating is the same thing that would prevent people from hopefully getting in there and cheating on these ones, right? So,
Do you think it's a bad sign for us as a society when we're moving toward video games in the place of athletic competition? Like 20 years, instead of speed skating, we could have like speed running as a Olympic event.
well, absolutely, it's a bad sign in a sense because we're already don't go outside like we should, right? And so this is another reason not to, and you can justify it because you're actually exercising. You know, the movie Wall-E is I don't think we're going to go to that point just because I don't think we'll be allowed to get that out of control. But that's where it heads, right? In one step at a time to the next point where you're like, you just need somebody to turn me over as I'm just chilling, relaxing, playing some games. It's always good to get up. And this is the thing. If we're going to be in this metaverse or playing games, at least there's an option for us to do something that's actually going to get our heartbeat, heart beating. So,
Yeah. I think it's just amazing how quickly things are coming along. Like it's light speed now. I mean, when you take the last two headlines and kind of put them together and think about, the way things are going. I mean, in a decade, we absolutely could be, standing in a virtual arena brought to us by our friends at Virtex, watching someone play Racket NX to qualify for the Olympics. I mean, mind blown, dude. We're already seeing it being implemented and the foundation being set for that, and it's happening much sooner than I would have even expected.
yeah, absolutely. Well, how crazy mind blowing would it be if you saw Scion in there and it was for Echo VR? Because jokes aside, he's that good. I could see him doing it. That'd be super cool to see somebody competing in the Olympics in the first ever VR Olympics, right? And then it doesn't matter. My question is, if they had a VR Olympics, if the Olympics went to strictly to VR, and you were doing, or they had their own version, could you still get that dystopian background of like the nuclear power plants or whatever? That was super cool with the ski jumps. I've never seen that this year. This year was very special on some of the Chinese locations they chose.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, who was it? Onakazi says there already is speed running. It's the decathlon. Yeah, I know. I'm talking about speed running in the not in the Kenyan sense, but in the Markiplier sense.
How do they drug test them? Bluebell wants to know. That would be a good question. And would it even matter? I guess it would, because if you took a drug in your body to make you perform better in VR, maybe you could last longer or whatever.
Sneak energy, bro. They're going to be testing you for that sneak energy drink.
Yeah, you're not allowed.
Use coupon code GamerTag as you check out to proceed. Never mind. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk before we dive face first into this week's gaming headlines. let's take a quick look at some deals. Get Final Fantasy's only VR game and more PSVR hits cheap. And basically, Roots, I just included this headline here as a way to inform people that, man, there is a massive PSVR sale going on right now. Everything is on sale, including Star Wars Squadrons for $10, Skyrim, Doom 3, Resident Evil 7, all $10.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Borderlands 2 half price, $25 for that one. Moss, Astrobot. I mean, everything's on sale right now on the PlayStation Network. And if you, like me, plan on diving back in for some PSVR here pretty soon, you might want to just give it a quick look, browse, and see if maybe there's a hole in your library that you weren't aware of.
Yeah.
And,
especially Resident Evil 7. It's getting an upgrade PS5 version, right? So that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Free PS5 upgrade coming for Resident Evil 7, which makes you wonder, will there be enhancements to the PSVR version of it? We don't know, but I think it's very likely that we do see a PSVR 2 re-release of it. And I don't think they're going to make people pay for it again. So pick it up now where you can get it for dirt cheap. It's like one of the best games in VR. My favorite game I've ever played in VR, even still. If you don't have that one, I mean, come on, man, what are you doing?
Absolutely.
Come on, man.
Mepper says there's a hole in his wallet that he wasn't even aware of, and Chi-Town D says, you know who else likes it when it lasts longer?
My mom.
She prefers it. Gets angry if it doesn't, actually.
PD says, you know who else likes speedrunners?
My mom.
She's busy today.
Will Raza says, half the reason I got PSVR for my stepson. He needs Iron Man is what he says. Yeah, man, I've actually been thinking about, because I never finished Iron Man. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, like maybe that's one I should be getting in there and revisiting as I am doing my tour of AAA VR. That one's right up there, man.
Yeah.
That's a good game.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I guess while we're on deals, this would be a good time to remind everyone to go pick up your free stuff. Get your PlayStation Plus titles for the month of March. Time quickly running out on that one. And I guess I'm going to go in real time right now and pick up the free Epic title this week. Hopefully, I didn't miss the one I talked about last time this came up.
The last time I tried to pull it up, it was logged out, and I forgot, and I was like, I didn't end up logging in, so I missed it. Onikazi says there's a typo in the article. It said $4.99 for Final Fantasy 15 fishing, but it was half off for him at $15. So there should be $14.99 right now. So just to let people know.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm down with $15 for that one, even if it is a Final Fantasy game. It's a fishing game, bro. It's a fishing game.
Well, this is the thing. Okay, Final Fantasy fans are fanatics. They really are. They love that game more than I don't like it. I don't get it. I never have. It doesn't matter which version. I've tried the online version. My friends tried to get me to go into it several times. It's like World of Warcraft. It's got healers, everything, dude. I don't like it. I don't like the way it is. But the people that do, like, they're diehards, right? As a matter of fact, I just dropped a couple pegs for a few people out there. They're like, fuck this guy, man. Final Fantasy hater. Just don't like it.
Anyway, the free Epic game this week is a game called In Sound Mind, and it looks great, man. It looks really good. If PD's still in the chat, I'd be interested to know if he's tried to get this game running in Vortex yet, because it looks like it would be awesome in VR.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gary says he hasn't played Iron Man. It came out after he sold his PSVR. It's on his list. It did for me as well, and then I picked it back up after I got my PSVR again.
Maybe we take the opportunity to revisit that one pretty soon, because I'm absolutely I'm gonna do. This is the last year, realistically, for PSVR. This is the PSVR swan song, and I want to send it off right. I want to use my PSVR this year more than I did last year, and there's plenty of good content on there. The best games, you know. So I think I'm going to make it a point between now and PSVR 2 to kind of make one more lap through my library, my PSVR library, before we move on to the next gen.
One last hurrah. Right?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, in that headset, sure, and it's time. Like it's the headband is kind of chipping and peeling now, and I get crap all over me every time I wear it. But
That's
it's been good to me.
That's the beauty of it. I'm kind of in the same boat, even though I haven't watched mine decay over time. I bought a used one, and it's okay. You know, it's not as, I mean, I got it for really cheap. It's not as good as the one that I sold, you know, when I got rid of my other one, but I don't need it to be. I just need it to limp along for the next couple months or 9 months till the new version comes out, and then I'll, you know, probably never touch it again. So
Right. Well, you can retire it. Right. I've thought about selling one of mine because I have two of them. And they don't, I use mine, but the other one, the one that stays in Isabel's room, it doesn't get touched anymore. They just play Quest. But every time I think about putting it up for sale, then it occurs to me, well, what if I want to play PowerPoint with the wife or one of the kids? Like, I need to have that, right?
right, or something drops that's a really good co-op game. That could happen. You know what I mean? You could get something that drops in the next 9 months. You're like, I really want to play this together with my family, and you're not able to. So,
Right. I don't think it's worth what I could get for it. You know what I mean? Like, I could probably have to bundle everything together for like 150, $200, and it's not worth that to me to get rid of it.
no, the way you would do it is you'd have exactly bundle. You'd have to get rid of some games, right? Possibly say this is, you know, here's something.
It's not just the games. Is I've got obviously I've got the headset and the camera, but I also have move controllers. I have aim controller. Like, I've got a full second setup in there with everything. But I would have to put it all together to even entice anyone in 2022 to buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
PD says that he does have a profile and a video of In Sound Mind. So there you go. He linked it in the chat there, so we'll have to check that out later. That game looks it looks wicked, man. Hopefully it plays well in VR.
Yeah, for real.
Immerse Robot says it's pretty cool how the OG PSVR still holds up almost today. Yeah, dude. It's still capable of some jaw dropping visuals from time to time. It absolutely will shock you. You'll forget how good it is until you put it back on, and then you're like, oh, now I remember. And when you look at the spec sheet, it's kind of breaks your brain because it shouldn't be able to do what it does. But it absolutely, the experience is still magical after all these years.
Yeah, and I know Brian Paul disagrees with me on this one, but Resident Evil 7 to me with the PlayStation 5 looked 100 times better than it's ever looked. It looks so phenomenal, so clear. That's like one of the best games I've seen on PlayStation VR. And that's like several months ago, right? It's exactly what Gary said. That headset is amazing and it stands up to today. And some of the biggest factors that was holding it back was the hardware of the PlayStation 4 Pro even, which is crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
Still kind of the limiting factor is the fact that they won't unlock the PS5 fully for PSVR. Like,
yeah.
I still feel like we haven't seen everything that the headset's capable of. And I know that we haven't because I've seen Blood and Truth in that headset, and I know how good it can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Anyway, I look forward to the next gen and just what they're going to be able to do with a truly next gen spec sheet. I'm sure they're going to be able to take it even further than we're even contemplating at this point in time.
Yeah.
Berber Cat, hello. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the show. Let's talk some games, Roots. Let's get into it. Why don't we?
Let's do it.
There are those who look into the eyes of another and see opportunity. A soul to corrupt and twist. Their stories are the ones we fear. And there are those who see potential. The light within the soul. A chance to lift someone up to achieve the impossible. Their stories rise to legend. So tell me, what do you see in Quill? Because her story depends on you.
Newly revealed on the PlayStation blog this past week, Moss Book 2 is set to launch on March 31st, and new PSVR gameplay has been revealed. So it's finally happening on March 31st, exactly 2 weeks from this announcement. You're going to be able to reunite with Quill in Moss Book 2. As the next game in the franchise, Book 2 builds on the story that you started with Quill in the original Moss. In this continuation of the journey, the stakes are higher than ever as Quill works to save the world of Moss and end the merciless rule of the Arcane. New allies, old friends, and the very world around you will offer help along the way. But in the end, it is you alone who can lift Quill up to save this world, and together rise to legend. So, Roots, one of the most long awaited follow ups in the VR catalog, period, finally getting a date. We've known for a while now that this is coming in the spring, as well as we've known that it's going to be at least a timed PlayStation VR exclusive. Are you at all surprised that that we have such a highly anticipated title as a PSVR exclusive in 2022?
No, I mean, I mean, it's not a knock at PlayStation VR because it's a long running, but what do they have? This is they need this, right? They need this for this year. And it started out with, on PlayStation VR 1. It's kind of cool that they've kept that relationship going. They want to give Sony their first thing. And I think it's good for Sony and for the game. I know a lot of people probably, like we were talking about a little bit during the trailer, there's a lot of people that probably aren't happy about this, like you said, that don't have a PlayStation VR. And so I get that aspect as well.
Yeah, and I totally understand, especially if you're someone who's really enjoyed Moss, as I think most people did that played it, and you don't have a PlayStation VR, or maybe you don't have one anymore. You're going to have to wait to play this. But I mean, how long? We've known that this is coming for at least 3 years, and we've waited this long. What do you think? Maybe 6 months exclusive on this at tops, Roots?
Yeah, that's what it was. 6 months, right? For the first one, I think that's what it was. I mean, it did. This is the thing. It's done phenomenally well on every platform, especially Quest. So we know obviously that it's not like they haven't said that it's not coming. It's just going to be a matter of time. Even if it's a year, which I don't think it'll be a year. I think it's 6 months. I think it's a good thing. That being said, I've got a PlayStation VR, so I can check it out. So I'm going to be in that camp of people that are like, "Hey, it's no big deal," because I have access. So
Yeah, and you know, those people's feelings aside, when I look at this from a personal standpoint, I kind of like that it's on PlayStation VR for a little while, and that's how I'm going to experience the sequel for the first time. I played the original Moss and played through it multiple times. I played it on every platform and beat it on every platform, but the first time was on PlayStation VR, and so much of the when we look to next gen VR or PlayStation VR 2, for example, one of the reasons why people are so excited about PlayStation VR 2 is it's kind of going to give us the best chance at kind of reliving those early days in VR. There's a certain nostalgia that comes with, thinking about, you know, PlayStation launching a new era of VR on their platform and all the titles and things. It's going to be the closest that we've seen to those first couple of years in VR when all those new games were coming out, not just on PlayStation, but in Oculus and everywhere else. But with regards to Moss specifically, there's or any sequel, there's a bit of nostalgia factor when you go into playing a sequel like this. And I think that experiencing a game like this, a sequel like this, on the same platform that I first experienced the original, I think it's just going to amplify that nostalgia factor by like tenfold. And I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad that the first time that I experienced this is going to be on that same hardware, the very same headset and controllers I used the first time I played the original. And there's always going to be time to relive the experience again later when the game finally does come to the other platforms.
yeah, and that's exactly it. And I know this is definitely some emotion in this comment from Tech. Not specifically from him specifically, but just in general with the people. It's going to cost them money, is what he's saying. And I get where you're coming from and people's sentiment of that, but it's an emotional thing. It's like, you know what? Because I can't play it on day one. I'm not buying this game. Fuck it. And what Wes just said is most people's experience. They did buy it, even if it was time released, and they not only bought it, but bought it on multiple platforms because they enjoyed it. Right? They on the PSVR and the Quest once it came out. So I think it's not going to limit their sales at all. What it's going to do is it shows that Sony, has good relationships with their devs, right? They put out the first game, they had a good thing going, and they continued what they did last time, this time, and it makes sense to me. So
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think it's going to cost them money. It'll delay it for sure. Like, I mean, most of their revenue that they're going to get from this obviously is going to be on Oculus Quest, just like everything else. But they're going to get that money. I don't see people like. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a small minority of people who are just so angry about this that they're not going to buy the game now. But I don't think that that's going to be the norm. I think most people, when this comes to Quest, they're going to buy it, and I don't think that they're going to boycott it or anything. Because it didn't come to Steam first or come to Quest or whatever.
it's not like it came out on Epic first. Then, of course, there'd be a boycott all over the place. For whatever reason, people really don't like it. Texas, the hype will be gone. I don't think it'll be gone. I think, like Wes said, it'll be delayed, and it's an amazing game. At least the first one was. So I think it'll be.
That's
cool.
the thing. That's the thing. I mean, it just depends on if the game delivers. I mean, if the game is what we think it is, then the hype's going to be there because this is going to be an amazing game, one of the best in VR, and one of the first true sequels. I mean, we've done episodes before just on the idea that please, as we move into the era of AAA VR, let's not forget about our first gen titles that we want sequels for. and this is the first of hopefully many VR sequels to come in the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. What you just said. It's all about the game delivering. If it's good, the hype will be there. And Wolvie's got a good point, and we've said this before. It's actually smart from a marketing standpoint as well, because they're going to get 2 releases. They're going to get the PlayStation VR release, and then the Quest one and PC down the road. So it's a win-win if the game is good, which I agree. I think it will be. So I guess, but only time will tell. Like Tech said, we really don't know. All of it's speculation, except that if the game is good, then it'll do well. So
Absolutely. And now, with the kind of market talk aside, let's move into the next headline here and kind of look at the meat and potatoes of what we actually learned this week, other than the release date, because there was a fairly significant 12-minute video that was posted with with this release date that revealed new gameplay and a lot of new information about the game. Our friends at Without Parole also did a very good 6-minute video, which highlighted some of these new features and had a fairly significant segment of a developer interview that Brian did with one of the developers of the game. So great videos out right now on the PlayStation blog, on PSVR Without Parole channel. But this article coming from Upload VR and Jamie Feltham, it's headline: Moss Book 2 looks like a much more interactive, almost cooperative sequel. We got a quick look at Moss Book 2 ahead of its launch later this month, and it's shaping up to be a worthy sequel. I was worried that Moss Book 2 would be more of the same. That wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. Everyone has fond memories of their first adventure with Quill. But the rock-solid foundations laid out by the first game risked merely being expanded upon rather than truly evolved. Developer Polyarc could have easily flicked autopilot on for this one. Certainly, the studio has talked about more content, more puzzles, more connection, more emotion, and just about any other buzzword that you might be able to think of. But how would that translate into something genuinely new? Having seen about 10 minutes of gameplay, I think I might have an inkling. Simply put, Book 2 looks like a much more interactive sequel, to the point where Quill appears as much a cooperative partner as she is a playable character. Take combat, for example. In the first game, action boiled down to some simple button inputs to make Quill swing her sword, with some Zelda-like quirks adding a little procedure to fights. It certainly worked, but pressing buttons on a gamepad or motion controller as you would in any flat screen game didn't exactly capitalize on VR's potential as much as the game's other elements did. In the sequel, new abilities and items suggest that players will have a more active role in the action and allow Quill some of her own independence. At one point in the demo, Quill obtains a new hammer weapon. In her own hands, it works as you might expect. Slower, heavier attacks that are good for brutalizing enemies with thicker defenses. But it also comes with a secondary ability, allowing Quill to make a mirror version of the hammer where she's currently standing. She can then double back as the player reaches in to literally bring the hammer down themselves. It's a fascinating twist that opens up your mind as to where Moss Book 2 could really go, with Quill able to operate outside the realm of traditional close quarters combat and the player being actively involved in events. So it is interesting, Roots. If you watch the gameplay, it very much, personifies the picture that Jamie Feltham is kind of painting here, and it does almost seem like a asymmetrical co-op game, even though it is a single-player game, and with you playing both roles. It made me kind of wonder, Roots, that did they even consider they could have made like a co-op mode for this, couldn't they?
yeah, sounds like it. Maybe they'll unleash that down the road. I don't know, but it sounds like they kind of. I mean, if it feels like it, that's not super cool. I like the fact that it sounds like every aspect of the game is enhanced, right? That they've built upon it. And one of the biggest gripes about this game was length, right? It wasn't long enough. So it sounds like they've addressed that right off the bat. So super cool.
They're saying about 1.5 times the length, and you know who's always relieved to hear that it's going to be a lot longer?
My mom.
Super relieved.
Yeah. But no, it's a much more open world now. You have a lot more freedom with where you go and what you do. Much more interactive. Not only in the direct gameplay elements, but just the environment. Like the character has a much more of an impact on the environment as you interact with the game. It seems much more realistic, like much more like a real place now than it did the first time, which is amazing because one of my favorite things about the first game was the environment, was the presence that you felt in this world. And now you're telling me that it's going to seem all that much more real. Uh, I'm as excited for that aspect of it as probably anything else.
Sounds like they listened to the community, right? Because that was one of the things as we went down and you're going into these cool environments. You're like, oh man, I wish I could like interact with more things. And sounds like they made this game amazing on every level, and I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I would be interested to know if they did consider at all making this a co-op game, because it seems like the ultimate application of this kind of let's be honest, this genre, this asymmetrical co-op genre that a few devs have tried and nobody's quite hit the nail on the head yet. Carly and the Reaper Man being probably the best example that we have, but we've seen a handful of these games and none of them really quite caught on to their fullest potential. I think if this game had a co-op mode where one player is the reader and the other player controls Quill, even if it's not like from a first person thing and it remains third person. I mean, you could even do couch co-op with something like this, where like the person controlling Quill is playing on a screen. Like, so many possibilities here with regards to co-op. I'd be very curious to know if they even considered adding a mode in that would allow players to play it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the chat's talking about Science VR said Budget Cuts had a sequel, and I would suggest that they got I Expect You to Die had a sequel as well. But I think what Wes said was a true sequel, and maybe on the level of Moss and not these other games. This is going to be something else, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, as great as Budget Cuts and its sequel were, it wasn't on the level of Moss in terms of popularity. Even like this is a big name title for VR. Like this is a top seller on all platforms. So yeah, I'm not saying that this is the first sequel
Ever.
that we've had to any Gen 1 VR games, but
Yeah, what a bold
as
statement.
far as right. But as far as like the signature titles from the Gen 1 catalog, we haven't seen many sequels yet, and we're just kind of hoping that we do in the next gen, and that's really all I was trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary says he felt like original Moss was about the right length, didn't outstay its welcome any longer, would have been an issue for you, and or fam. And I agree. Everybody raves about Asgard's Wrath and how long it is, and to me it was too long. And so there is a fine line where a game can be too much, and it just depends on how engaging the gameplay is, right? Elden Ring, I can always go back to this for flat games. I'm 70 plus hours in. Space Denizens 144 hours, or he was a couple days ago. It's because it keeps you engaged, and if a game can keep you engaged, it doesn't matter how long it is. It makes you want to play more, and so hopefully Moss does that.
Yeah, I don't have any doubt that I'm going to marathon this. Like I'll have this game completed in a week. You know what I mean? This is not the type of game that you pick up and lay it down for a month and come back and play a little bit more. This is something that sucks you in until you get to the end of it. At least that's what was my experience with the original, and I expect this game to be much more engaging than even. I mean, they've been developing this thing for a long time, and I
Yeah.
don't think they've been sitting on their hands. I think that we're going to see the fruits of that labor next week, Roots, when this thing comes out.
Wow, it's crazy. Can't wait, right?
Yeah. Scion says you must have missed Lone Echo too. Yeah, dude, totally. All right, my bad. Second one, okay, my bad. Redder says I own Lone Echo 2 and I haven't even played it. Dude, it's solid. I haven't finished it, but it's good. And yes, you do need to finish Lone Echo 1. That's very good as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so hyped for this, Roots. I can't wait to dust off the PlayStation VR headset. I hate it when people say that. I always used to get so mad when people would say, "I'm going to dust off the headset." Like, but it is 2022, so I look forward to donning the PSVR headset and continuing this story. You think I have time to play through the original again before it gets here? I want to be in the right mindset.
I think you could. It's only a few hours, right? This is the thing, Wes. I'm looking over at my PlayStation VR, and there literally is a layer of dust on it. So if I were, I would literally have to dust off my PlayStation VR. So I get it, but people like Jim Hall needs to dust off VR in general. Get back in here, bro. We miss you.
Percent. Well, we'll entice him, dude. He's not going to be able to hold out forever as we move into the next gen and all these amazing games start rolling in.
Yep, absolutely.
He's going to submit.
Yep.
Anyway, super hype for Moss Book 2, and surprisingly soon this game. I mean, they said it's coming in spring. They didn't say it was coming as immediately when spring got here. Like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. That's
And
really
how
cool.
awesome is it, Roots? Again, and we kind of touched on it earlier. Super awesome and highly significant for PlayStation VR as a platform to be getting a highly anticipated, high profile title as a part of its send off. Let's be honest. This year is the send off for the PSVR platform. And I'm glad to see that it's not just going to kind of fade away into obscurity, but go out with a bang. So,
Yeah. It's funny because recently people would have said, why do I need a PlayStation VR? PSVR 2's coming out. Nothing good's coming out in this year that I can't play on Quest or whatever. Well, we don't know how long this exclusive is. You might be playing PlayStation VR 2 before this drops on Quest. Probably not, but still could be close, right?
You know what surprises me is they still haven't dropped the retail price on the bundles. I was at Walmart today looking at the Iron Man bundle. It's still $350 if you want to get one of those.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, that's kind of amazing. You think at some point they would knock $50-$75 off of there so that people might still consider buying one of them.
Yeah, and you drop $100, make them $250 with that game. They just fly out the shelf, right?
Yeah, there were 3 of them on the shelf, and I walked 6 feet down the same aisle and looked in the Oculus Quest 2 case, and there wasn't one to be had. They were completely sold out, as they typically are. So yeah.
Well, my
maybe-
daughter, she ran into that. I told you when she went to get hers, she went to several places in town and they were out. So,
Yeah. Anyway, really looking forward to getting into this one next week. If you guys are interested in seeing me play through Moss again, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I'll record it. Maybe I'll stream it. Maybe I'll do it for Patreon. You guys let me know if that's something you're interested in, and we can do it.
yep.
This grand firmament hangs by a thread. You. And you have no capacity for understanding the magnitude, the labor of generations that have come before you, and what shortly lies ahead. I could have mentored you, passed on the knowledge that was passed to me. But now I'm dead. You are our thread of hope for opening the gateway and preparing for the arrival. Vite dilationem effere recurit firmamentum. Firmamentum.
Mist and Abduction developer Cyan Worlds took to the Firmament Kickstarter page this past week to bring us a very significant update with regards to the development of this highly anticipated title. And that's literally what we're going to be taking a look at today is this update on the Firmament Kickstarter page. It says, "Hello, backers. We've got a short update for you today about our PlayStation plans for Firmament. Great news. We're excited to announce that we're not only bringing Firmament to PS4, but also to PS5 and PSVR 2. When keys are given out, backers who selected PS4 as their platform of choice for their reward will receive a single key that grants them PS4 and PS5 entitlements. The PS5 entitlement will include PSVR 2 support when PSVR 2 is released. That said, there's a bit of bad news. We will not be bringing Firmament to PSVR as we had originally hoped. Note, PSVR does not equal PSVR 2. Wait, so about PSVR, what happens? Anyone who wanted a PSVR version will instead be able to play the game on PSVR 2 when it launches. Now that the reward will include an entitlement to both PS4 and PS5 versions of the game. To those backers who were banking on a PSVR version of Firmament, we apologize for this change and ask that you contact us at support with any related concerns. We're aiming for Firmament to launch with PS4 and PS5 support at the same time that Firmament launches on PC and Mac later this year, with PSVR 2 support to follow after PSVR 2 is launched. At this time, there is no official launch date for PSVR 2. Until that platform's launch is determined, we can't say exactly when Firmament can be played on PSVR 2. All right, so a couple of things here to take from this, Ruuts. One, obviously, Cyan Worlds have received their PSVR 2 dev kit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They've looked at this game. They're working on it, right? So this is the thing. Wolf Raza says smart move, honestly, and I agree. You know, it's kind of like what Facebook did with the Quest 1. They're cutting ties with the PSVR 1. That they don't want to, but at the same time, they've realized they're gonna avoid all sorts of headaches, and they're gonna be able to deliver the game that they want to, right, to all the platforms. Which is a bummer for all the original PSVR people. But at the same time, if you own a PSVR 1 and you're not getting the second one, I question your soul. And I question whether you're a true game cat. Oh, I just said that. No, just kidding. Um,
And Gary has a good point, and I agree. He says if you're a backer, I think it's okay to be annoyed.
yes,
Absolutely. If you were a backer and counting on playing this on your original PSVR and you're pissed off about that, you have every right to be. With that said, I think that these people are going to be few and far between because I don't know very many PSVR 1 gamers who don't plan on picking up PSVR 2 when it comes out.
right.
And as we all know, you know, cross generational games are really just last gen games, right? The game's only as good as its weakest platform.
Mm,
And if they were going to develop this game for PSVR 1, then it's going to hold back what it's truly capable of on PSVR 2. So I'm actually glad, Roots, to hear this. I think this is good news. And again, I think, you know, getting this news so closely after we had the headline last week about all of the dev kits that made it into North America. I think that this is just an indicator, another indicator that they have their hands on this dev kit now, and they're 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 setting the stage for their launch, uh, as this puts it, later this year.
yeah, 100%. I agree with you what you're saying there. Like Returnal is so amazing, right? Because it's not limited. It's a PS5 exclusive, and it was made for that platform, and so now they're going to be able to make this for everything PSVR 2, PC. Exciting. So
Yeah, a couple of other little clues here we can glean from this message, by the way. I don't know if you guys noticed any of this, but it says we are aiming for Firmament to launch with PS4 and PS5 support at the same time Firmament launches on PC and Mac later this year. So there's confirmation, Roots, that we are going to get this game this year, which is kind of a relief because we know, what kind of productions these Cyan games turn out to be, and they can take a very long time to make it to market. I mean, the trailer we just watched is 3 or 4 years old, if that tells you anything. Good to hear. Here we are at the end of March that they are saying that we're going to get it this year.
yeah, absolutely. And Bluebell's got a perfect point. Whenever you back a Kickstarter, things like this are possible. You have to keep that in mind when backing. You also have to keep in mind you might never see the game. Some games or whatever it is never make it, and then your money sometimes is gone. Like it sounds like to me, and I don't want to put words in their mouth, but it sounds like you're going to get your money back if you had it for the PSVR 1. They want you to contact them directly, and you'll probably get your refund. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Obviously, they're going to keep their customers happy, and that's the reason why they listed their support email there for anyone who really does have a real problem with this. You'll be able to get your money back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited all the way around because I didn't back it for PSVR 1, and I agree. And I said that kind of tongue in cheek about people being true fans of PSVR. You have to go to PSVR 2. I mean, there's gonna be some scions that drag their feet for whatever reason. The tracking's better on the PSVR 1. I don't know, but PSVR 2 is gonna be so awesome. I can't imagine anybody outside of being able to get it or financial reasons not upgrading, right? Because those are real as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. One more thing I'd like to point out here, and maybe a little bit of speculation on my part, but follow my logic here. Follow along with me, if you will. Obviously, they if they have their PSVR 2 dev kit, which we assume that they do, they probably have a very good idea when PSVR 2 is going to launch. Now, obviously, they can't reveal that here. Like they've signed NDAs and such, and they can get in a lot of trouble with Sony if they reveal that. But let's just pay attention to how this is worded. We are aiming for Firmament to launch with PS4 and PS5 support at the same time that Firmament launches on PC and Mac later this year. Now, pay attention. With PSVR 2 support to follow after PSVR 2 is launched. So basically, what they're saying is their game is coming later this year, and then PSVR 2 support will come later. which this just kind of lends credence to what our friends at Without Parole have been saying for the last couple of weeks. The PSVR 2 is not coming this year, right?
Yeah.
Am I reading into it a little too much, or
No.
that's the way it reads to me?
Well, people will read the opposite into everything. So that, to me, that's exactly what it sounds like. And what's funny is, and I was saying this before the show, we have two, pretty respected voices saying two different things. Sadly, it's Bradley, you were saying, is saying the opposite. He still thinks it's coming this year, right? And then of course what you just said is the opposite for them. So it's one of them has to be right and one of them has to be wrong. And I agree.
Well, here's the thing. With regard to these differing viewpoints, on one hand, we have Without Parole, who are saying, look, we talked to people who know, they told us when it's coming. This is when it's coming. What Bradley's saying is I know this thing's going into production this month. I know that. And typically these companies don't, go into production for a year before they hit the market. Typically after it goes into production, it's on the market within months, 3 months, 4 months at the most. So he's just speculating based on, his knowledge of the market and how it works, that it wouldn't make sense for them to wait until next year. So take that, for what it is. On one side you have speculation, on the other side you have leaks. Either of them could be correct at this point, but I tend to go with until they've been proven wrong, I'm going to roll with what Without Parole says, because they've been right about everything they've leaked thus far about PlayStation VR 2. So as much as I would like to see them be wrong here, and I would love it if they were dead wrong, I don't think that that's going to be the case.
That's the conundrum, right? Emotion runs high in this. It's like, I want them to be wrong, but I agree. I'm pretty sure that they their sources are correct. And but like you said, I mean, it makes sense either way. It really does make sense to hold off a few more months, try to get that stock up to where anybody can run out and grab it on the shelf. If you can make that happen, that's what you want. You want people walking into Walmart and walking out with it in their arms, instead of what's been happening the last year. You think that conversation doesn't happen in boardrooms. You're naive because that has to be the worst situation to be in, to have a product that's in high demand, but you can't get it into your customers' hands. That sucks.
So Gary, going to bed. Thanks for stopping by, man. Really enjoyed having you in chat once again this week. Have a good night. Sleep well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Onakazi has a good point. He says, it really depends on what later this year means for them. If it's a late spring or summer release, then PSVR 2 following it up could still happen this year. That's true. Absolutely true.
And Bluebell says, sadly, it's Bradley usually gets it right, though. That's exactly what I was telling Wes. Either way, it's exciting for me because you have two voices that are usually always right, and somebody's going to be wrong. Usually. Well, I mean, this is the thing. You can never be right all the time. And sometimes you get it wrong. And sometimes that's just the way it is.
I remember Bradley saying a lot of things going into Connect last year that did not come to pass.
True.
I'll just point that out. He was sure that certain things were going to be revealed and announced at the last Connect, and did not happen at all. We got a box. That's all we got.
And what's in that box? And this is the thing, and that's what you have to take into consideration as well, is there's misdirection from companies all the time. Sometimes they want you to think something's not coming out, or vice versa, that it is, and you just never know what's gonna, be the truth.
What a coup that would be, right? Imagine Sony leaks that it's Q1 2023 just to
get
just so that they
Oculus.
could have that hype. No, imagine, everyone's expecting it to come next year and then surprise launch in October.
Oh, wow.
Imagine the hype that would surround that, dude. It would be an explosion in the press.
Yeah, and
like, boom,
they kind of did that approach with the last thing that Eric was at, right? Like there was like this big surprise thing. Ryan was
Yeah.
there, and it was like, oh my God, everyone freaked out. It was kind of like their MO. So I could see it.
Yeah, possible. Certainly possible. All things are possible these days.
Yeah, not probable,
Um,
possible.
Michelle B says they'd be stupid to miss Christmas sales. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Anyway, looking forward to PSVR 2. Looking forward to Firmament. Roots, you know, I feel like Cyan kind of did themselves a disservice when they added in VR support for abduction. It was very poorly optimized when it first gained VR support, and I still kind of feel like the stigma of that follows it even today. People, when I hear people talk about abduction today, it's still like they're talking about that launch version of abduction. Abduction and Mist are some of the most, if not the two most amazing VR puzzlers that I've played. And anybody who's played these titles in the last year, it's impossible not to be hyped for a game like Firmament, because this is really going to be the first time that they've went into a development cycle knowing that a game is going to be a VR, going to support VR rather than just tacking it on like they have, or porting like they have their other VR releases. This is going to be a legit VR game, even though it is a flat. This is a hybrid game, if you will. But this is going to be the first time that these very talented developers at Cyan Worlds are going to know that a game that they're developing is going to support VR from the very first moment that they start development. I imagine that that's going to show through when we finally do get our hands on this game.
Absolutely. And they've had practice with Mist on the Quest, or I guess in general, right? And then also with all those updates for, like you said, it didn't launch very well as far as optimization, but it plays well now. And so they've learned things that they now can implement into that game built from the ground up, or at least the VR version. And so I think it's going to be amazing. And we're going to see everything that we loved about Mist and Abduction, but it's going to be on a completely different level, because people like Scion are going to get a new Mist game, right? Or people have been waiting for this for a long time, and it's going to be amazing, I think.
Yeah, that world's going to have that unique flavor of Cyan weirdness to it. The puzzles are going to be mind-bending, as they always are. A title that certainly deserves more hype. This should be on everybody's top, at least top 10 most highly anticipated games for the foreseeable future. It's probably in my top 5 if I really have to, you want to hold my feet to the fire. I'm very much looking forward to Firmament.
How many games do you think will have a difference? Like this game comes out and there's like a clear reason why you would rather have it over PSVR 2 over PC, right? Because of the controllers or the haptics in the headset. Whatever's going on, they're doing extra things on top of everything else that maybe isn't in that other version. Or do you think it's only going to be for the traditional native titles that are exclusives, right? Like the Returnal of VR or whatever it is.
I don't know. I think that that we're going to see a lot of that sort of thing from third parties. I don't think it's just going to be for exclusives. No.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool, right? It'd be awesome because it'd be cool for the PlayStation VR people to finally be like, they're playing the superior version. You could slum it with PC VR, and yeah, you could have a amazing 3080 Ti, but are you going to feel your headshots when you get shot in the head or whatever they've got? The controllers, like I'm wowed by that DualSense controller. Every time I use it for a game that actually uses it, it blows me away. So I can't imagine how VR is not going to be different, right? Just the way a gun feels or whatever, the adaptive triggers, all of it.
Well, that's a great example. And when you think about it, I think the precedent that the flat platform has set is going to extend into VR. These third-party titles on PlayStation 5, the best version is on PlayStation 5, largely because of the integration of that controller. Like Call of Duty is the best on PS5
Mm,
because the PS5 platform has features that the other platforms don't have. And I think that you're very much going to see exactly the same thing with PlayStation VR too.
100%. The controllers, the way the guns feel is way better on Call of Duty, and the Tempest audio. It's superior. You can hear people in ways I could never hear on the PC version, which is crazy to me. So
Yeah. So yeah, I think that absolutely that's going to be the case, and I think we're going to see it. I think obviously there's not going to be a mass exodus of PC guys going to console, but I think we are going to see more this generation than ever before. PC VR players playing PlayStation VR. I think it's going to be a magical time.
yeah, it's awesome.
Scion says, Wes, you need to try the Talos Principle VR. Some argue it's better than Mist and Abduction. I can see their point, but I disagree. But I did love it. I agree. I do need to play the Talos Principle VR. And how about this? I was going to save this till the end of the show to kind of throw it out there, but I'm going to. I want to do more content for the patrons, right? I want to, as you guys know, start giving you guys more for your support. So what I was thinking I might do this month, and if if you guys like it, I'll keep doing it month after month. I'm going to put it out there to you guys. What do you want me to play? Anything. I'll put a post up on the Patreon either later today or in the morning, and you guys just tell me what you want to play, and if whatever gets the most responses, I'll do a gameplay of exclusive to Patreon, and it could be the Talos Principle or anything else. I've been looking forward to playing Return to Rapture. Radio Runt said he was thinking about installing Asgard's Wrath on his machine again. Well, guess what? I've already done that. It's ready to go.
Damn.
So whatever you guys want me to play, just let me know. And if we can't get two people to say the same game, then I'll just take the pool of entries and just randomly pick one from it and play it for you guys. And if this is something that you enjoy, I'll start doing this monthly. I'll do a exclusive gameplay for the Patreon, viewer's choice. So you guys just again let me know what you want me to play, and Scion, I'll take your vote through Discord, obviously. So yeah, I want you guys to know I appreciate your ongoing support, and I want to give you guys as much as I can. Time will allow. We'll just say that.
That's awesome. Well, there you go. If there's a game like Scion, I mean, it has a lot of games where he's like, Wes, you need to play this. Roots, you need to play this. If there's a game you want to see Wes play, just let him know. And he's going to, is that, I guess you'll put the link in the Patreon and do it live, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, you guys can tell me directly on Discord if you want, but I'll put a post up on Patreon that you guys can reply to. And, we'll give it a couple days and see what people say. And, it probably be a recorded thing, but maybe not always. It's a lot easier for me to find time, obviously, at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning when it doesn't make the most sense to stream. So it might be recorded because of that reason, but I'll certainly play whatever you guys want me to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you go. I think that's actually a really good idea. People are already excited about it. That's the thing, man. People they have strong opinions about what you need to play because they want you to see how amazing it is. And this is a great opportunity to do just that. So,
or like you said earlier, they could go the other way with it and put me in put me in taco face or something like that, just because the comedic value of
Barn Finder. Wes finally gets to check out Barn Finder and car parking lot or whatever it is in one stream. That would be amazing.
There you go. There you go. By the way, shout out Bluebell, our most recent Patreon supporter. You know, I finally got the outro fixed last week as we were signing off. I said, finally the outro is set until we pick up a new Patreon, and then I'll have to do it all over again. And within 5 minutes of the show going off the air, Bluebell had subscribed to our Patreon. So thank you, Bluebell, for the support. Your name is on the outro crawl this week, and we very much appreciate your pledge.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. We really do appreciate it. You're awesome. And sorry we missed shouting you out. Tex says play Fallout Guy. I don't know if he means he's calling you Guy, Fallout 4, or if he's meaning Fall Guys, which is a flat game. So you're not going to get Wes to play that. Either way, Fallout for sure. Everybody loves that. I want to see you finish that game. That game is
Oh yeah.
it's so beefy, man, and it's such an amazing story, and it's right up your alley.
For the record, I'm going to keep playing Fallout on the general channel. You guys don't have to vote for that one. That's something I'm going to continue to stream on the channel. I just didn't get a chance to this week. I had a couple of chances to stream this week, and every time I had a minute, I would look at YouTube and someone else was streaming. And I'm not the type of guy that likes to step on people's toes, so I just kind of yielded. But we'll definitely get in Fallout one day this week and put a couple more hours into that. So
yeah, absolutely. Garbage of the sea.
Silent, yeah, right. Silent says we'll put him in that semi-sailing game. Oh, that's my favorite. Maybe I'll make it through the tutorial this time.
So I'm seeing boundaries needing to be set here, Wes. No, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, as long as Wes can take it, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, definitely getting back into some Fallout this week. Other games I've been thinking about, obviously Moss, Return to Rapture. I want to get into with the Half-Life Alyx mod. Talos Principle, that's a good one. Asgard's Wrath, obviously. A lot of PlayStation VR stuff I've been thinking about lately too. I meant what I said when I said I want to kind of send that platform off with the bang and do a victory lap one more time before we move on to the next gen. So you guys just let me know what you want me to play, and we'll get you some exclusive content.
Aftershocks. And Traveling Man says, have you finished the Room VR?
Have I finished it? Did I finish the room? I don't think so. I think I'm in the last chapter of it, but I did not finish it. Travel Man, you were at the last one that I did with that one. I didn't finish it. I played deep into it. But no, I did not finish that, if I'm not mistaken. I think we still have the finale there that we can always go back to that. Good call.
Wolvie's got a great suggestion. He says a combo platter of all the games attacking the COVID virus. And there's so many out there, and they're all very well thought out. You know what I mean? Like very deep gameplay. It'd be an amazing stream to watch you play those. For me, anyway.
Science says go back to the Solus project. I could definitely do that, and I wouldn't mind it. I really enjoyed my time in Solus project. In fact, I'm constantly cycling games in and out of my library so that I can manage my hard drive space. Solus project still installed. Into the Radius still installed. I never uninstalled those because I knew I'd be getting back into those two at some point, Scion. So
you need to do something where you go back, revisit games. You call it the 3080. You know, games that you played before on your other card that you weren't able to really crank the crap out of them. Like amazing games that people say are phenomenal that you've wanted to play anyway, right? Because you got the card now.
Yeah. Well, which, I mean, I've had it for a while now. We're going on 2 years with this thing. But yeah, I absolutely like games like Hellblade. Like, I often think that I should go back and check out some of these earlier titles, early Gen 1 favorites, with the graphics cranked up on my G2, you know.
Let's see what it looks like, right?
Right. Anyway, we could sit here and play this game all night long. We still have quite a healthy selection of headlines to work our way through. So why don't we move it on along? Phasmophobia developers Kinetic Games shared a brand new look at the overhauled VR features and rework coming soon to the cooperative ghost hunting game. The new gameplay was shown in a tweet embedded I'm sitting here reading this. This is from Upload VR, by the way, guys. The new gameplay was shown in a tweet embedded below and goes through several new changes to the VR mechanics and features. Phasmophobia has optionally supported VR headsets for a while now. This update will represent the biggest and most focused effort to revamp the VR experience of the game in a long time. Some of the improvements highlighted in the video include improved hand posing, better item placement on your hip, new hover icons and poses when selecting and picking up items. There's also a grab selection UI now that should make it easier for you to know what item you're targeting when there's more than one near each other. There's also more interaction poses for hands as well, such as the one shown flicking a light switch. A seated mode has been added for those who don't want to play standing or in room scale. Likewise, there's a simulated crouch for those who physically don't want to duck down while playing. In a thread replying to the original video, one of the lead artists replied from a personal account to someone complaining about how there was only still floating hands instead of full body models. The lead artist said that there will be attempting a full IK rig for first person view when we update the player models, but that involves a ton of work, which they haven't started yet. The VR overhaul is marked as in testing on the developer's production board, so it's safe to say that we can expect the update to launch soon. So, Roots, a popular game, Phasmophobia, as it stands among the VR community, although the VR integration obviously never was the best. And while this update still leaves a lot yet to be desired, I certainly would say that this is a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people forget this was a flat game, right? That they implemented into VR, and it was big because a lot of streamers played it, big streamers, and so it got a lot of hype, and people played it and liked it, and so the developers obviously have taken that money from the initial burst of sales, turned around and put it back into the game to make it even better, which is cool.
And people still playing this game, both flat and VR. Like it's had some real legs, more than we see oftentimes with these types of early access games.
Yeah, absolutely. Cyan says this game's actually tempting him to play, even though he avoids spooky games. And as people pretty much, I guess Bluebell was wondering it'd be like with Be Haptics vest. That's actually a good idea, right? You could feel things like something touching your shoulder. I don't know. I guess there is not shoulder, right? Or whatever, like right your chest, pushing on your back or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Tons of opportunity for body haptics with regards to horror games in general.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine I'm not typically one for cheap jump scares, but if you've got something jolting your body to kind of drive it home, it could be very effective, right?
Yeah, especially if you're on edge and then all of a sudden something happens, right? And that's when that jolt hits. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool that they like I said, they took the money that they got from the sales and turned it back and made the game even better. So super cool.
Yeah, super cool. Now we played this game early on when it first heard early access, and it wasn't terrible, but I wasn't hugely impressed with it. But with that said, this game has undergone a laundry list of updates since I played it, and I know a lot of people swear by it now. GT says this is the scariest game he's ever played, which that alone makes me want to get back in it and give it another go, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, not a chance. And once I started seeing that you're getting to be a part of lighting the pentagram on candles, I'm out. And I'm probably weird for that, but I say to each their own. And I think, like I said, it's exciting that people love this game, and if it can give you that scare, if people get this is the thing. If you want a horror game, And I've said this before, and I said that this personally on the After the Fall stream, Master stream to GT. Like, I believe in demonic and ghosts and all that stuff. So like that has the potential to really freak me out and being in a game. So yeah, it's definitely creepy for sure.
I never thought I'd see the day, Roots, that you'd be noping out of a game that Scion's volunteering to take your place.
Yeah.
That's topsy-turvy world.
Topsy-turvy world.
Yeah.
But I completely respect people. Like, a lot of people just don't, it's just not a big deal. And, you know, but I think it's cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyway, Phasmophobia, a good example of a game that patrons could vote for, although I think I would need some help in a game like that. It's 4-player co-op. So,
You could get,
maybe
you could get people easy, right? Scion. Right there.
maybe we could go on location and from this one day, huh?
Yeah.
We find the right guest. Although Roots would have to sit out, right? And
we could
do it.
We could do on location with me commentating. I don't know.
Right.
You know,
That'd probably be entertaining, actually. Have you down in the corner watching us play and talking to us.
Yeah, because I'd be totally nonchalant. And you guys would be totally creeped out by everything going on, right?
Right. You can talk to us, make us feel better, break the immersion.
Well, and this is what I always tell. That's what I actually do tell Dee. She always jokes about how she's never played Saints and Sinners, right? She doesn't want to go in there with it kind of being a little scary or whatever. But if you go in there with people in the Discord or somebody you're talking to, it's almost like they're with you. It'd be the same thing with the stream, right? So I could keep you guys company, keep you safe.
Nice. I'm down, bro. I need my my Roots protection.
That's right. Science is first scary dream, and he's out. I don't blame you, bro.
Oh, Scion, when's the last time you played tried playing a horror game? Were you like 12 or you know what I mean? Maybe it's better now.
He's just vivid dreamer. You know what I mean? And Wolveraza says he volunteers, but he'll scream like a girl and try to watch your mouth. Well, that's fills my slot. I scream like a girl, and I'm trying to watch my mouth.
So there we go. We've got Scion. We've got Wolvie. I need at least one experienced player to tell us how to play. I'm sure that there's not a very detailed tutorial in there. So we got to have one vet
GT
jump in there with us.
GT would be perfect.
There you go. Absolutely. Space Innocent, I had an epic nightmare after playing Exorcist. Oh, I bet you did, man. That game is freaky. Oh, how about that sequel coming for that one, too? I'm really looking forward to that.
It's crazy.
It's going to be co-op just like this.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway, significant update to Phasmophobia, but Phasmophobia, obviously not the only game in the VR library to receive a significant update. This story coming to us by way of VR Scout. The popular VR Battle Royale game Population 1 has gone through a number of transformations since its launch on Quest and PC VR headsets in 2020. Developer Big Box VR has continued to support the game with new avatars to unlock, new weapons to master, new environments to explore, including everything from a Western-themed locale to a sprawling fantasy castle. That said, these two areas, while fun in their own right, pale in comparison to Metropolis. Available now on all platforms. This massive urban environment takes the game's signature vertical combat system to new heights with its labyrinth of multi-level structures and vertigo-inducing jump pads. Yes, you heard correctly, jump pads, a highly requested feature among the existing player base. These powerful cannons allow you to quickly traverse the densely packed city, whether you're chasing down another player or escaping the clutches of death. Roots, this game, this update, and the fact that we haven't gone into it yet, just a testament to the strength of schedule that VR's had going on this month, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, man, everything about this is crazy. I didn't even know that jump pads were being requested in the community, but it makes sense. A lot of people use those like a lamp or a board from one of those trash cans or whatever to like push into your chest and it shoots you up in the air, right? And so you can get an advantage. But now they've actually incorporated it into the game, which is pretty cool. Although, man, this is the thing. There's already people like the aspect of people coming from above now just quadrupled probably as far as percentage wise. You're going to see it a lot more. I was already seeing it a lot because people are, getting on the tower and cheesing it, coming down at the last minute. But now you can just shoot yourself up and go flying wherever from those spots. I just think it's cool.
I've been wondering what we should cover this week because we have such a wide menu now to choose from of all the new stuff in VR. But when I think back, just a couple of weeks, Roots, we were playing this game and having a blast in it, and we came out of it saying we've got to play this regularly now. We need to get back in here more often, get a groove going, and stick to it for a little while. And since then, this update has dropped, and I think this looks absolutely amazing. It looks huge, and what they said is true. Like it adds a new level of verticality to what was already a highly vertical, gameplay loop. And I think that if you're going to have that glide feature, which is one of the kind of the highlights of the game for me, this is going to maximize that aspect of it. And beyond that, we now have a vast new sprawling map that the players haven't learned yet. Like we get to go into this fresh with everyone else instead of having these guys that live in the game already know where we're going to go before we go there.
Absolutely. That's what Wolvie said. It's going to take time to learn how everyone is using it and the layout but it's super duper fun. And they give you, I guess, weapons to mess with in the lobby, right? So it's a best update ever. That's cool.
Yeah, a big update to what it was already one of VR's best games, and a game that a lot of people would tell you is VR's best shooter. When this game came out, there were lingering questions of whether or not it would receive the kind of support that it needs to be to remain viable as a multiplayer title in what is still a relatively small VR community, for lack of a better term. But here we are a year plus on from the launch of this game, and it's just as viable now as it was on launch day, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Even more so. I was just thinking, one of the things that we said, the caveat that would keep this game doing well, would keeping it fresh, right? Changing things up. And they were doing a good job of it to some extent with the skins and the new zones. But a lot of it felt samey after a while, right? Because it was aside from the new areas, which was cool. You go to the Old West, to the saloon or whatever, but nothing like this on this scale where it changed everything, the whole scope of everything. And that whole area that looks like it's like inside of a parking garage or whatever it is. You have all the different levels. It looks amazing to get in there and have a fight going on, right? So I just think it's really cool. So instead of just slapping a skin on like most games do, they actually structurally change things. And I think it's really cool.
What do you think? Think we should do some Pop 1, talk about it this Wednesday?
I think so. Absolutely. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. And even with Masher in San Francisco and reporting from GDC, I do believe he said that he took his headset with him. So we might be able to even nail down a time and get him in there with us as well.
He did. He took his headset with him, and he was talking about even getting in some Alvo while he's gone as well. So
There you
cool.
go. There you go. So yeah, absolutely stoked to check this out, and a lot more to come on Population 1's new Metropolis map later this week.
Grant, are you okay?
Alex, yeah. I barely made it out alive.
Is there somewhere you can hide out?
I'm not staying here. I have to find you.
There's a lot of those things heading your way. They're coming.
I have to find where people were being evacuated to.
Military was stationed there at some point. Do you see any signs of them still being there?
I don't know. I'll find out. I have to find my family.
Story-driven zombie shooter The Living Remain launches on April 5th, 2022. This per Reddit post, which is titled, "My husband and I are launching our game, The Living Remain, on April 5th, 2022." So I do believe we talked about this one a while back, Roots, when they first revealed it. I mean, on paper, nothing to see here. It's another story-driven zombie shooter. I mean, we've had these in VR before. From a dev team of two people, a husband and wife team, is all that's behind this game. And reading that, typically you'd say, "Oh, well, this is just more, more bloatware on Steam or what have you." But then you look at the footage, and this thing looks pretty damn polished. Now, maybe it turns out that they have it's something like Contagion VR was, and they have one good chapter, and then the rest of it kind of falls apart. But judging by what I'm looking at here, I am very interested in checking out The Living Remain. I think this thing looks pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, I was thinking of Contagion earlier when you were mentioning, a game that came out a long time ago that's had a lot of updates that you're not aware of how much better it is than it was. Because I still think of Contagion the same way, but this looks amazing. Actually, it looks even better than Contagion looked back then. And so hopefully, a team of two people, that looks really good, right?
Yeah, actually, this looks like it kind of looks like what we wanted Contagion to be, doesn't it? Like, this is the type of game Contagion was supposed to be, but it looks like it's a much more complete game than Contagion was. Contagion was kind of like a collection of chapters that was loosely cobbled together over the course of years. Very disjointed game, and the quality level diminishes as it goes along. This looks tight, man, and kudos to this two-person team for accomplishing what is apparently a very playable, if not very polished, zombie shooter. This, according to the game's Steam page, it says, built from the ground up by a two-person team, The Living Remain is a virtual reality first-person adventure shooter where players immerse themselves in a new world where the undead have taken over. You must survive the horde of undead using an arsenal of weapons in a story-driven campaign loaded with a variety of interactive environments. Explore, scavenge, and collect filament to craft ammo and upgrade a variety of weapons. The game features a full campaign with story-driven gameplay, combat, realistic pistol and assault rifle aiming and firing, crafting, physics-based environments, interactive and immersive gameplay, full locomotion, and optimized to run fluidly on a GTX 970.
Ooh, there you go, D. Be
Yeah.
good. Play it on your 1050 Ti.
It's almost too good to be true, isn't it? Just reading down that. I mean, really, 2 people did that. And
Well-
if it lives up to everything they're saying here, I mean, I'm going to be impressed, to say the least.
Well, this is the thing I learned about this game when I was making the thumbnail. So I was looking for, some kind of something to put it in the thumbnail, because I was like, man, well, I want this to be in there. And game's been around for like four or 5 years, right? They've been working on this game, so they're just fine. I mean, it's taken them a long time, but they're finally getting it out April 5th. So how exciting, right?
Yeah, dude, that's the first, right? And if April's going to be anything like March, it's going to be nuts. But here's the first one, 2 weeks ahead of time. We know it's coming, and I'm already excited to get this one. Excited more for this, honestly, than a lot of the stuff that we've gotten in March.
Yeah, absolutely. And D says she's already scared. I don't blame you, D. And Scion says we couldn't even drag Derail out of Elden Ring for the show. He was here. He was here for a minute, and I told Scion in the chat, I 100% understand, because I almost didn't make it for the show because of that stupid game. And it's just so addictive that that's all I want to do is play more, man. And it's crazy. It shows you how good a game can be, and I can't wait to get a game like that in VR. And I think Returnal is. I keep feeling more and more secure that Returnal is coming to VR, and I'm excited.
I do too. Obviously, for reasons that we can't really talk about, but yeah, more confident than ever that thing's going to happen.
Yep.
Anyway, Techno Glitch asked, co-op in this? Currently, no. How about no?
How about no?
No, it's single player story-driven zombie shooter. Obviously, kind of like a baby between Saints and Sinners and Arizona Sunshine. Not quite so perfect as Saints and Sinners was, but not quite so one-dimensional as Arizona Sunshine was. Somewhere in between there, assuming that everything works and there's no jank. They say it's optimized for a 970 and it has physics-based, fully interactive environments. Like, what? What? Some of this don't add up to me, Roots.
Sounds crazy, but we'll see. We've seen it. That's the thing. We've seen people make promises and have it not work out even close, and then others nail it and you even exceed. So hopefully this team of 2 can do their job. And I feel short, Wes. I had to stretch. My tailbone was on that chair, man. Too much.
Yeah, I get it. We're dragging on here a little bit. We got sidetracked way too many times during this this episode. So with that said, we're going to remain on point here. I'm just going to leave it at this. Stay tuned for more of this game because I'm definitely interested in it and definitely going to be checking it out when it launches early next month. Roots, arena-based melee has never been my favorite. Of course, there's exceptions. Hellsplit Arena comes to mind. Gorn was pretty fun, but typically, I've avoided games like Swords of Gargantua or Swordsman VR throughout my time in VR, and with those two titles specifically, uh, people continue to tell me that they're good, that I'm missing out. Um, Swords of Gargantua is a game that's been around for a while now, a few years or a couple years, and iterated upon and updated frequently, and supported well by developer Thirdverse. And I've always kind of felt like it was impressive, the kind of following that they built for that game, because there wasn't a whole lot of hype surrounding it when it launched. It's only through the quality of the gameplay and word of mouth that it has developed the following that it's gotten. So always quietly kind of been interested to seeing what this studio does next. How are they going to follow up Swords of Gargantua? What will they do next after the arena-based melee game? Well, looks like we have our answer now, as Altair Breaker follows Thirdverse's roguelike Swords of Gargantua, which is available on PSVR and carries mostly positive reviews on Steam. According to Thirdverse, the game will feature music directed by Hideki Sakamoto, alongside voice acting by another person whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce. The game is set on an abandoned city floating in the void of the VR world Altair, where players can dive in to unravel the mysteries of the AI-controlled world. There's not much more in terms of additional details at this point, but the studio did release a preview trailer giving you a sense of the setting and tone of the game. And Thirdverse confirmed that Altair Breaker will support up to 4 players in multiplayer, with crossplay enabled between PCVR and Quest 2. Roots, when I look at this game, I see Swords of Gargantua. Am I off base here?
No, it looks very similar, but I guess this is a co-op version. And is it kind of like I'm kind of is it you get to go into the things and fight like you have this kind of reminds me of to some extent like a Pokemon. You got a Pokemon, you throw it in the arena, and then you get to be in that arena. I don't know. Looks pretty cool though.
Yeah, it looks like they took Swords of Gargantua out of the arena and kind of put it in a larger, more interactive environment. But the core gameplay looks very, very similar to footage that I've seen of Swords of Gargantua. Now, admittedly, I have not played Swords of Gargantua, so I don't know. I could be way off base here. I was kind of just a little bit surprised that their second offering is so similar to their first. Like, I guess they've decided that these melee type games are just going to be their bread and butter. This is what they're going to do.
Yeah, well, and it could be like a lot of times we say to developers, they make a game and we love that game, or make a sequel to it, or we'd love multiplayer. If you made another version of the game in multiplayer, we'd take that. So maybe that's this. So many people played the original and they thought, I'm sure we even said it'd be cool if it was co-op, right? So now they're going to make another version of the similar game, and I'm assuming people love the gameplay. So if it's really good gameplay, why break it? You just making a similar type of game in the same type of universe, but making it more bigger and multiplayer friendly. I think it sounds pretty cool.
Right, filling in a lot of the gaps that Swords of Gargantua left, right? Giving you a world instead of an arena, giving you co-op instead of single player, giving you a story instead of roguelike. So yeah, I do think, for what it's worth, this does look like a significant upgrade from what Swords of Gargantua was, and a lot of the things that kept me away from Swords of Gargantua, not so lacking in those departments here. So maybe we'll give it a shot. Interestingly, Thirdverse is planning to give visitors to the GDC conference in San Francisco this week the first hands-on demos with the title. So perhaps we'll get a report this coming Wednesday on Altair Breaker and just how good it actually is.
Okay, yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, MASH, you need to get in there. Onikazi says it needed a bit more variety. Swords of Gargantua was great for 4 or 3-person party combat. So apparently, that had multiplayer as well. I didn't know that. It's pretty cool.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So it seems like a sequel, doesn't it? It seems like a proper sequel.
Yeah, bigger on scope on every level, right?
Right. And again, based upon the pretty much universal praise that the original got, I imagine this one's going to be fairly popular and certainly launched to a bit more hype than the original did as an unknown title from an indie dev.
Do you think it'll be the same price? Wasn't that not Swords of Gargantua was like $10, right?
Oh no, it was more than that.
Was it?
No.
Or maybe I'm thinking of something else.
$30.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, looks pretty cool. Certainly piqued my interest. Hopefully Masher gets a chance to check it out this week and report back to us.
Pressed on all sides, with the forces of evil closing in, our intrepid adventurers have run out of options and time. Your only choice? A perilous journey to the dungeon of Coldemont. Roll for initiative. When we were younger, we lived and breathed role-playing games. That love of adventure led to lifelong friends, a passion for games, and an idea to bring that experience online. This is QuestHaven. This is just the beginning of the adventure. But we need your help. We want to create the ultimate online role-playing experience. And with your support, your passion, your ideas, we know we can make it happen. So, come join us in QuestHaven and make adventures happen.
This article by Scott Hayden of Road to VR. QuestHaven is an upcoming tabletop simulator that wants to bring VR and PC users all of the tools they need to play tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. This past week, developer Mercy announced that QuestHaven's Kickstarter is officially launching March 22nd. The team behind the project says the simulator will let you build environments and import game rules so that you can play essentially any role-playing tabletop game, such as D&D, Pathfinder, or Shadowrun, just to name a few. QuestHaven is said to target Quest 2, PCVR, and standard PC monitors, the latter of which is used by the Dungeon Master to run the campaign, whilst player characters in VR either control pieces and dice, like a standard tabletop game, or jump into a more immersive one-to-one view of things. Developer Nox Dev says in a Reddit thread that QuestHaven is more of a platform than a game, since it doesn't come with any set of rules. Those are imported by the user so that they can play anything. Instead, dungeon masters generate their game worlds, just like you might with figurines and grid maps, and players create their characters via an avatar creator. Still, the team says it eventually wants to add user-generated items through a marketplace, so module creators can sell their modules bundled with handouts and elaborate elaborate maps, something akin to the Steam Marketplace. QuestHaven's creators are looking to fund development via a Kickstarter campaign, again launching on March 22nd. In the meantime, you can sign up for updates on the game's website, which I have linked in the description down below. And that way you can be the first, among the first to hear about the launch of the Kickstarter page. Roots, every time that we've ever covered the VR masterpiece Demio, you've often longed for the day that you could play such an immersive tabletop style game with a full-on dungeon master setting, just like the tabletop role-playing games of old. It appears that you might one day have your chance to do just that, as this, it's not a game, this piece of software pretty much puts the power in the hands of the dungeon master to create the worlds, to create the rules, to create the experiences, unbounded by the limits of any kind of a strict game format. Much like your imagination would be unbounded in the old style of RPG game. I think this is kind of a RPG enthusiast wet dream, especially if this thing turns out to be easy to use, which is kind of, I think, what's going to be the thing that either makes or breaks it, right?
Absolutely. Because I was excited about Tabletop Simulator and I bought it, and then I was like, this sucks. It's just, I mean, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's not everything I would want it to be. And this is amazing. I mean, the best thing that I heard in this whole thing, besides Technoglitch saying it was free and everybody in the chat buying it, it's definitely not free. There's a Kickstarter after all. And it's, if everything that they're saying on this, what they want to do is very, very ambitious, but doable, I think. And so I think they need the money. But I get excited for the fact that it's community based as far as the maps or there's so Dungeons and Masters, and I've said, or Dungeons and Dragons, I've said before, it's only as good as the dungeon master. Like, if you have a phenomenal storyteller, a person that is really good at it and setting it up and everything, it's going to be an amazing campaign, and you're going to have so much fun. Now, you couple that with, people creating this content, not only because they love it and they want their cool dungeon in the game for themselves, but now they can make money on it. There's a storefront. I don't mind paying $10 for a campaign. This is the reality. I used to play that kind of stuff when I was a kid, and you'd go out there and you'd spend $20-$30 and you get a book and you'd get all sorts of stuff, but it came with a lot of work. And so I just want to go in and with Wes and Mash and whoever else and do the campaign, or maybe I get to use somebody else's campaign and I get to be the dungeon master and decide what's going to attack you. Because I just think it's super cool.
Yeah, that's really the one thing that I feel like where the real potential lies here is in that kind of community sharing aspect of it, because there's lots of us out there who would be more than willing and would enjoy playing these sorts of games in this immersive environment with all of these cool assets that they obviously are going to have pre-baked into it. But none of us want to go and build the maps and make the rules and do all that sort of thing. So if this game does eventually, game, here I go again. If this app eventually does become kind of a marketplace for people to create and then share their games, their maps, their characters, their worlds, then there is a lot of potential with this, especially when you're considering something that um, is going to cover the entire gamut from Oculus Quest all the way to flat PC. I mean, this could potentially attract quite a large number of players as long as people know about it and get out there and fund it while it's in Kickstarter.
Yeah, if it's done right, this could be a headset seller, right? There's a lot of people that would love to go into the a world of Dungeons and Dragons and play the campaigns and stuff, myself included. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the promise here, right? Is that there's no boundary. Your imagination is the only boundary, assuming again that this is an easy to use thing, which I would assume that it is. I assume that there's going to be it's going to be like Dreams, where there's a library of pre-created assets that you can kind of put together in your own way to make your own thing.
yeah, absolutely. So you're going to see a lot of games recreated, right? Interactive, besides Dungeons and Dragons, right? That's what they're focusing on, but they've said that you could pretty much do almost anything in there. So
And what I also find very intriguing about it is the fact they're not just saying that the dungeon master makes the rules, but the specific phrase that they use is import the rules, which tells me that there is some kind of underlying structure here that allows a game to be ran in it. So while it might not tell you what the rules are, that the software on some level has a kind of a predefined library of what the rules could be, and you get to pick from it, right?
yeah, how cool.
Yeah, certainly could be very cool. I was going to share their Kickstarter page. I couldn't find the Kickstarter page for it, I guess because it isn't went live yet. So again, I did link the the web page for this app in the description down below. Anyone who's interested in it should go down and click on that. They have an email list right there as soon as you click on it, and you can give them your email, and I'm sure they'll contact people in a few days when the Kickstarter goes up. But I think this looks super cool, and interested to see how it goes. Hopefully, enough people know about this that their Kickstarter is a success.
Yeah, well, tell you what, that's all it's going to take. This thing's going to get funded easily. And people were quite saying Demio, this is going to be a Demio killer. I think Demio still in its own right will stand the time for it, but if this is done right, this is the unique part of it, is being able to shrink yourself down to scale, even though you are scale of the place, people, the parts. This is everything. The world sounds like it's going to be alive, right? So
Absolutely. And while it obviously will appeal to the Demio player base, this is going to be something very different. I don't think Demio is going to be sweating QuestHaven in the least.
and this is a ways off anyway, right? I would imagine.
I would think so, yeah. Who knows though? They might have a lot of the work done. A lot of times these projects go to Kickstarter to get funds to polish and finish it and fully bring it up to the level that they want it to be at, so they could be pretty close to done with it, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you heard it here. If you want this game to succeed, not only support it, but let other people know that it's out there. Share their Kickstarter, and let's drum up some support for them, right?
Absolutely. That's what we do. This is what we do here, right? we bring the games to the people. We're the bridge between the developer and the players.
Yep.
Speaking of which, that's going to wrap up headlines. Bring us into the week's reminders for the of releases coming out this week. And man, a tale of 2 months for PlayStation VR. Huh? I mean, last month it was Sam and Max, and that's it. This month they've already had what Republic. They've had 2 or 3 solid titles already, and if I'm not mistaken, and coming into this week, 2 more notable titles. First of all, Shadow Point from Coatsink Interactive coming to PlayStation VR on March 22nd. Simply put, still one of the best titles on Quest, despite the fact that this was a launch title for the original Quest. Still holds up today, in my opinion. Not a game for a casual puzzler, though. I mean, this is a legit hardcore puzzler. But what really makes it is the atmosphere, the storytelling, and the overall production value of it. It's these aspects that makes this unique amongst a lot of the other nuts and bolts type of puzzlers that we see in VR.
Yeah, absolutely. Narrated by or I guess not narrated, but the main person's Patrick Stewart, right? So that's always good.
He's a excuse me, he is the narrator, actually.
Okay.
He is telling the story of you and the girl that you're chasing.
Oh, cool. Oh yeah, like I was watching the trailer thinking what I said last time. I need to play this again. Looks cool.
Yeah, very, very high quality title, and definitely a big pickup for the PlayStation VR library in 2022.
Yep. Yeah. And Wolvie says Captain Picard. Yep. That's absolutely. So.
Yep. But that's not all PSVR is getting, as 2 days later, this one from out of nowhere, Root Stride from Joyway finally making its way onto the PlayStation VR platform. Again, a title that has a pretty good following on Quest, a pretty decent following on PCVR, but I think there's a potential for it to really take off on the PlayStation Network.
Yeah, absolutely. I still am waiting for the story campaign. Do you think there's a chance it doesn't come? Because they've got Outlier out there now, and like they're probably working on. They're about to announce their 4th title, whatever it is. You know, just because they're working their asses off over there. I just want the story to this, but yeah, this is an amazing pickup for PlayStation VR, and so I don't think there's anything like it, right?
No, this is the definitive parkour title. I mean, unless you count like To the Top, which is kind of a parkour game as well. But I'd point out that To the Top, amazing on PlayStation VR, so that bodes well for a game like this.
Yeah, and you got a gun. That's good.
And you got a gun. And Brutes, to answer your question from before, I still think the story mode's coming. I think if it weren't, they wouldn't continue to address it. They keep bringing it up that they're working on it. They just, as you said, they've got a lot on their plate, and they just haven't gotten around to finishing it quite yet.
Well, and at some point, we're like, it's like somebody screaming for a movie to be finished and come out. Like, it's the story's got to be written. You got to get actors. They got to get together. You know, even though they, you know, a lot of things to get a good story. Do you want a good story, Roots, or do you want some crappy story? So, I guess at some point I need to just simmer down and just enjoy what we have so far, and then enjoy it when it comes out.
Absolutely. But for what it's worth, people, as it stands, say that this game's a lot of fun. Unless you're like Bluebell here and you lose your VR legs when you get in there. But it looks cool.
Well, that's cool. That's now even more appealing to me because I don't have an unlimit on VR legs.
Technoglitch says there's a big GPU drop at Best Buy. That just goes to what we were saying at the top of the episode, right? Like they're coming back for a little while. So if you're looking for one, get them now while they're affordable and in stock.
Yeah, 3080 Ti. Just pick one up for Roots, and they'll just ask me. I'll send it. Give you my address. You can ship it to me. And maybe that's not a good idea. Who knows what comes in the mail, right?
Anyway, PSVR not getting all the fun this week as Vermillion is coming to Quest 2 on March 24th. Roots, I've been watching this title for some time, and I think that this is the most legit, like, traditional painting app in VR. This seems like a very complete experience for the real life painter who wants to create their art in the digital world. This is a highly detailed, very versatile paint program, but this isn't like your Quill or your Medium or stuff like that. This is traditional real life painting only in VR.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if it'd be for me, but I'm not really into painting anyway. But I could totally see how if you're like this is the thing. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're really into something, you want to be able to experience a really cool version of it in VR, right? And there really hasn't been one so far, in my opinion. Not like this. You could paint a woman. Now, did she paint that entire thing, or she? I guess she's just painting to fill it in, or how does that work? That looks really cool. I see Bob Ross teaching me. That'd be cool.
I've seen work people have done in this program on PC, and that's accurate. People can make stuff like that in this program.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's high quality work. I'm glad to see it coming to the Quest. I know for a fact that the developer behind this title quit his day job a couple months back to go all in on his painting app Vermillion. So hopefully he finds the kind of success on Quest that so that his risk pays off. And judging by the quality of this, hopefully there's enough artists in VR that his gamble pays off. And I wish him nothing but success. Obviously, a lot of hard work has gone into this.
Yeah, for real. That's cool. It's great for artists. Bluebell says, I agree.
Yeah, 100%. My daughter's very artistic. I wonder if she would potentially enjoy doing something like this. Maybe.
Yeah. Be super cool. You could use it for schoolwork, for art.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Anyway, one more title out this week, also on March 24th. This one from Fire Punch Games and Devolver Digital, Tentacular, hitting Quest 2, hitting Steam VR this week, Roots. We talked about this one a few weeks ago. Interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely looks really interesting, right? I guess you get to be the octopus, right? And it's like a diorama or something. Huh. What is this? It kind of looks like, what was that one that with the giant and the catching and throwing mechanics and stuff? I
know what you're talking about. The Good Goliath.
Yeah, Good Goliath. So from that standpoint, I could see. I mean, that was a game that I was like, this is not going to be cool, and that was like one of the coolest games I played in that month. Probably, it was cool.
Yeah, this is it looks to be a very unique game. You want to sit here and call it kind of a physics-based puzzler with a story, but I don't think that that's really enough to kind of really describe what's going on here. I feel like very much this is its own game, and I don't think that we'll really be able to put accurate words on what it really is until we get in there and play it for ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it could be really cool, and looks like it could be for kids. I don't know, but I guess that's cool too for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So time will tell on this one. Certainly looks like it's produced well, and certainly unique and interesting enough to be worth a look. Again, coming to Quest and Steam VR on March 24th. So 4 days from now, and Tentacular will be in the wild, and we'll know. Is it good? Is it childish? Is it gimmicky? Or is it legit? We're going to know soon enough.
How crazy is it that we're almost into April? That's crazy, man. This month's flown by. So Bluebell said Beardo Benjo played it and made the game look funny. So I guess there you go.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up this week's releases and bring us into the Wishlist /review segment, where we ask all of you to join us and take just a moment of your time to click a few things and do your part to support the developer community out there that brings us all of these games that we love and spend so much time in. I've kind of tried to leave a couple examples on the Discord this past week, Roots, because we very specifically had 2 developers on their Discord come right out and tell people, hey, please go and review our game if you bought it. It's literally the most important thing that you can do after a game launches, other than buy it, is review it. This is their words, not mine. This is what we say week after week after week, but I wanted to take the opportunity to just kind of point out to people that it really isn't our words, even though we say it every week. This is coming from the developers. This is important stuff for their game, whether or not the platforms are going to push their game or bury their game.
Right.
Again, their words, not mine. Specifically, Stride was the first one to come out and ask for it. By the way, Root, Stride launched at $15, and I got a press release from them that said that they're only at about 25%. Not Stride, Outlier. My bad, Outlier. It launched at $15. Outlier did, and I got a press release from them this week that said they're at 25% right now of the total content that's coming to that game. And they're going to continue to update it. They've already released one patch to it, and they said that they're going to continue to support it as they always do. But they really they need people to get out there this week and review their game so that Steam doesn't, lose it, doesn't bury it. And we heard similar things from Alvo. And again, I think Alvo, like Outlier, has a lot of potential. And Alvo even more so because it's that genre that everyone loves, right? So I've done Wishlist the last 2 or 3 weeks in a row. I think I'm going to do a review this week, and I think I'm going to put a positive review in for Alvo on the Quest store, because again, I think it has a lot of potential to be a very popular title over the coming weeks and months. So you guys, I would appreciate it very much if you have time to leave a review while I'm doing this. If not, wishlist something. Go wishlist The Living Remain from that husband and wife team. I'm sure they would very much appreciate that. But any bit of your time that you could give us right now, very helpful and very much appreciated by the development community.
Wolvie said he did just right as you were saying that. He wish listed Living Remain. And what you said is true. It's funny because I've been guilty of this myself. We all act like we don't have a hand in how good a game is received, how successful they are. And we're like, man, I really hope Alvo does well. I really hope this game does well. It's kind of like people that, and I'm not knocking anybody if you're out there and you do this, but they come to the show and they're like, man, I really love your show, man. And then they leave without liking it. And it's like, well, if you want to help us, if you love the show, you would like it. If you love the game or you want it to be successful, leave a review, wish list it. But the reviews, especially for Alvo and Outlier, being games that a lot of people maybe didn't have their eyes on it, or a lot of people really didn't even give it a chance before they reviewed it, right? And it hurts. It hurts developers big. They get one shot, right? So.
By the way, the original Moss on sale right now on Oculus Quest for $23.99.
Wow. If there's ever a reason to pick it up, right there, especially with the sequel coming in 2 weeks, you're going to want to play that first one, right?
All right, so let's see here. I don't leave reviews on Quest store very often. Gotta figure this thing out. Write a review. There it is. Boom. And it doesn't. Here's the thing. You guys don't have to write a book. Now you can go back and edit it or whatever, I assume, and make it as detailed as you want. But all you gotta do is pick a star rating, put a title line, and write a couple sentences and hit submit. Really, that's all that you have to do. Really, all that really matters is that star rating that you give it. I'm going to give Alvo 4 stars out of 5, and
it's fair.
I'm going to.
It's got and this is the thing: the negative things about Alvo are getting fixed, right? So at least the most negative things, control schemes. Like the developers have listened, and they've already said in their most recent thing that Wes posted on the Discord exactly what they're fixing, how they're fixing it, and it's every single thing that everybody complained about. And so I don't see why there would be any problem. And people like Radio Runt that initially were down on it after playing it a bit, became more positive on it. And he still says he prefers Contractor's style, but he really likes it. So I think it's definitely an amazing game and worth checking out for sure.
So I'm titling my review "Super Fast Paced and Original Shooter" because that's what it is.
Yeah.
And just a second here, and I'm just going to put a sentence or two in, and we're going to submit it.
I agree. Wolvie says word of mouth is big in VR. Smaller communities do that. That's why customer still has control over direction of VR with all this. Yeah. I mean, and this is the reality. If you don't speak up, it can't change. And some of the most important things that have been suggested for some of these smaller devs, or devs in general, if the developer is a good developer and they're listening to the community, they're going to, if it's good for the game, they're going to listen and change it. And unfortunately, I wish they would have changed the scheme. We say this all the time, the control schemes ahead of time. But for whatever reason, they thought that they didn't need to, and but they're quick to respond, right? So Bluebell says it really matters on Quest because Matter uses that in the algorithm, only way to prevent crappy games from getting approved. Yeah, it's true as well. Although we still don't exactly understand the way Meta chooses or doesn't choose certain games. Certain amazing games end up having to go to App Lab, but we've beat that horse so much that I'm looking for the PETA to come bouncing down my door.
Anyway, 4 stars, titled "Super Fast Paced and Original Shooter." And this is the whole review, guys. Despite a bit of a learning curve with regard to the control scheme, this game is a load of fun. If you give it a little time to grow on you, you're going to find that this is a very unique and very fun entry into the VR shooter catalog.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I had to do. Just that quickly. There's a positive review on the Quest store for this game now, and it's still at only 93 ratings. So let's see if we can get this thing up to 100 at least over the next couple of days, and let's get this game out there, man. It's a solid title, and I think Radio Runt's reaction to it very telling. I don't know if you've been following along on the Discord, Roots, but Radio Runt didn't like it after he played it the first time. But based on what you said, what I've said, what Master said, he went back in and tried it again and started to kind of get a grips, so to speak, no pun intended, on the control scheme. So after the second session, he's like, you know what, this is actually pretty fun. And then he played it again. And when he got done with that one, he's like, you know what, I really like it a lot. So I think that that's going to be the case for a lot of people. Again, it is a very different game with a very unique set of controls. But after you learn those controls, the game really opens up for you. And with that said, they do plan, and they've said this many times, they're going to continue to refine the control scheme and give people options going forward. So it's going to even get better with time. This is an active studio who has a history on the PlayStation store of supporting this game very well. So it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it's like a Call of Duty style as far as unlocking your weapons. I know Tass was having an issue with that, but like, you just keep playing. After playing 15 rounds, you unlock, or however long it takes, depending on how good you are. Because we were getting like 17 kills a round, 50. You get points for every kill, right? And so just getting a sight, the dot sight on my thing. That sight was so amazing, and it upped my skill so much better, right? And so it's got that reason to go back in. You want to unlock something else and unlock a perk. I mean, that works in games like Call of Duty for a reason, and I think it's a good addition.
I went back into it after we reviewed it, which is something I don't do a lot of times. And I'm not a shooter guy. Like, this isn't my genre. I went back into it and had the most fun that I've had in it thus far, playing it after we reviewed it.
Yeah.
So that should say something to those of you who have been following the channel for a while. I'll absolutely go back into it. Probably some more this week, although again, Pop 1 at the top of my list. That's what's next with regards to multiplayer shooters for me
Yes.
this week. But we'll get some Albo in there too, I'm sure.
Yep, for sure.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up the wish list segment and bring us into our final reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can do your part to support us, our channel, our community. Of course, if you're new to the channel, the best thing you can do is click all the stuff. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. That way you can stay up with all of our awesome content here on the Virtual Strangers channel. Of course, for those of you who'd like to do a little something extra, you can support us on Patreon, which is still only $3 per month. I can't say it'll be like that forever, but only $3 per month gets you access to our weekly show notes. It gets you access to insider updates. It gets you access to exclusive content, like this week's viewer's choice, we'll call it, or patron's choice. You guys don't forget to let me know what you want me to play, and we're going to put some exclusive content up for you ASAP. But anyway, again, shout out to Bluebell for being the most recent Patreon supporter. We very much appreciate the support. And again, it's just not even $1 per week. You get access to all that stuff, as well as the peace of mind that comes with knowing that you did your part to help grow this awesome VR community as we move along into the future. So again, thanks to all our patrons out there. Thank you to anyone who's considering supporting us in that way, and just thanks to everyone in general who supports us by showing up, watching the shows, and sharing with your friends. We love you all, and we very much appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, also last but not least, an invitation into our home, into our community, into our Discord server. You'll find it in the description down below, the invitation link to the Virtual Strangers Discord, which is where we're all at 24/7, talking about VR, talking about flat games, talking about life in general. We're a tight-knit community of good people in there, and we very much would appreciate it if you'd come and join us, help make our community better. It's like The Walking Dead, Roots. Like, we want to be a little selective about who you let through the door, but at the end of the day, bringing in awesome people just makes us stronger. So there's an invitation open there for anyone to walk through, join our community, and we welcome you with open arms.
Yeah, absolutely. Come home. This is the thing I was saying last night to Jim Hall when I came with Discord. He asked, "You're not streaming on Twitch?" I said, "No. Sometimes I like a personal stream. Right? It's on Discord. To watch it, you have to go into the channel with me, and so you can talk with me while I'm playing whatever I'm playing. Right? It's a little bit more intimate." And you don't get to do that unless you're part of the Discord. So that's cool.
Yeah, Roots streaming all the time, bros. And if you want to find out about that, you want to be kept up to speed in real time, all you got to do is walk through the door in the description down below.
That's right.
Well, Raza says hard bullet, probably closest to what I'm wanting. Really fun one if you have PCVR. Yes, that is a Vive 4 Infinity title, and one that I have not tried, actually, but I do think it looks very interesting.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
Very, very good. Dark Angel standing at the door asking people the questions. How many walkers have you killed? How many people?
Yes, yeah.
Why?
That's the most important question, right? Why?
Anyway, with that said, friends, we'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you in a couple days. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.